Welcome to the Fantasy Audiobook. Everyone. Domain Master, Level 1 creates an absolute domain. Chapter 21. I've taken so many amplification potions, but I still can't catch up with Chujia. How exaggerated are his attributes? Zhang Qianan was secretly surprised when she looked at Chujia, who was obviously much faster than herself. However, there was no room for her to think too much at this moment. Two assault lizard warriors had already discovered them, their sinister eyes flashing with bloodthirsty light, and they charged towards them with great force. Hoo-ho! The sharp claws tore through the air, making a whistling sound, and clawed straight at Zhang Qianan's neck. Bang! At this moment, a fireball the size of a washbasin hit his head. This was Tang Ya's assisted attack from behind. A huge fireball exploded on the head of the attacking lizard warrior, forcing it to stop. Zhang Qianan aimed at the opportunity and directly released 3 stages of cut. The silver long sword drew 3 rays of full moonlight and struck firmly on the scales of the assault lizard warrior, making a clang, clang, clang sound of gold and iron. The assault lizard warrior was forced back by Zhang Qianan, but his steel-hard scales were not damaged at all. With a furious roar, Zhang Qianan's fierce claws counterattacked wildly, and the dense shadow of claws enveloped Zhang Qianan. Zhang Qianan kept waving his sword to resist attacks. Every collision made her mouth numb and she could hardly hold the sword. Fortunately, the shield on her body has removed most of its strength, and the healing aura will quickly eliminate her physical discomfort. Kacha! A bolt of thunder suddenly appeared above the head of the assault lizard warrior. The bright lightning struck down on its head, making it dizzy. The attack suddenly stopped and it froze in place. This is the lightning strike, released by Qin Xiaoxiao using the skill scroll. Zhang Qianan's eyes narrowed, and he immediately slashed with the extremely swift wind slash. In this way, with the remote assistance of Tang Ya and Qin Xiaoxiao, Zhang Qianan and the assault lizard warriors came into a stalemate. Even, it still has a faint advantage. Although the attack lizard warriors have extremely high defense, Zhang Qianan, the Queen of Krypton Gold, is also a fierce group. After the continuous slashing, scars began to appear on the body of the lizard warrior. This made Zhang Qianan very happy. Great, if we continue like this, as long as we don't make any mistakes, we will definitely be able to kill this elite monster. However, at this moment, the assault lizard warrior suddenly stopped attacking. The terrifying lizard head looked up at the top of the dark cave and began to roar loudly. The harsh sound spread in circles. It was the skill, summoning companions. Upon seeing this, Zhang Qianan's face suddenly changed and she exclaimed. Why did it suddenly start summoning its companions? Could it be? Zhang Qianan subconsciously looked in the direction of Chujia. Just now, she had devoted herself to fighting the attacking lizard warriors and had no time to care about anything else. At this time, Zhang Qianan's pupils shrank suddenly when he saw the battle situation next to him, as if he had seen a ghost. The corpse of the other assault lizard warrior had been separated, and its protruding eyes looked forward unwillingly, as if it could not believe what it saw before it died. Chujia stood next to the assault lizard warrior, with dark green blood still on his long sword. He was calm, as if he was killing other monsters. Chujia killed that violent lizard warrior. Isn't this too fast? Only at this moment did Zhang Qianan clearly realize how big the gap between herself and Chujia was. Chujia, what should I do? This monster has already summoned its companions. Zhang Qianan was frantically attacking the assault lizard warrior, while looking at Chujia for help. Her beautiful eyes were so anxious that she almost cried. It's all because she was too weak, which led to the current situation. I'm afraid they may have to face more than just 2 lizard warriors later. It doesn't matter. This is good. It saves me the trouble of looking for them. You will attract them from the front later, and I will pounce from behind. Chujia's figure flashed to Zhang Qianan's side, and with a flash of sword light, he directly killed the attacking lizard warrior. The scale-enhanced crit lizard warrior is indeed very tough. Although Chujia can break through the defense with one sword, he can't kill him directly. But he unexpectedly discovered that the scales on the chin of the assault lizard warrior were of average hardness. Starting from here, you can kill with one sword and kill with one blow. Chujia told Zhang Qianan the secret, then stepped on the cave wall and hid directly in the dark cave roof. because from the direction of the tribe, 4 attack lizard warriors had already rushed in. They all ride on the black stone monitor, and their speed is much faster than traveling alone. Ah, even though you say so, I can't do it. The assault lizard warrior always bends his body slightly when fighting, deliberately protecting his weak points. With her current speed, let alone one-hit kill, she couldn't even touch the monster's weak point. Zhang Qianan smiled bitterly and shook her head, her eyes becoming clear and firm again. Since Chu Jia said it doesn't matter, then it definitely doesn't matter. What I need to do is complete Chu Jia's arrangement. Zhang Qianan crushed the skill scroll in his hand without hesitation, and shot a flying sword through the air. Together with Tang Ya and Qin Xiaoxiao, she used skill scrolls to attack the lizard warriors from a distance and attract hatred. Other side. After 3 attacking lizard warriors passed under Chu Jia held his long sword vertically like a guillotine and jumped decisively from the top of the cave. Tisk! The sword flashed, and the long sword stabbed into the head of the last assault lizard warrior with incomparable accuracy. Attack the lizard warrior, die! Chu Jia kicked away the assault lizard warrior, pulled out his long sword, and swept the sword light, killing the black stone giant lizard under his feet. Then, without stopping, he quickly chased the attacking lizard warrior ahead. Running with all his strength, Chu Jia easily caught up with the 3rd attacking lizard warrior. The violent lizard warrior who roared and charged saw a long sword suddenly appear in front of his eyes, and then with a slight stroke, a line of blood exploded on his neck. The roar of the attacking lizard warrior suddenly stopped, his body swayed, and he fell directly off the back of the black stone monitor lizard, unable to stand up again. Using the same technique, Chu Jia eliminated the 2nd attack lizard warrior, leaving only the last monster in front of him. The leader of the assault lizard warrior wondered why the charging roar was getting smaller and smaller. When he looked back, his huge lizard eyes were so frightened that they almost fell out. 3 assault lizard warriors and their mounts were all lying on the ground dripping with blood. A young human was charging toward them with a smile on their face. Roar! The assault lizard warrior looked up to the sky and roared. A blood-red light began to appear on his body, and his eyes gradually turned blood red. It actually released the skill, crazy, without hesitation. Go mad. Do I allow you to release your skills? Chu Jia's eyes turned cold, and the pig-toothed sword flew out of the air, and the hard scales were directly crushed. The long sword was thrust straight into the back of the assault lizard warrior. Chu Jia followed closely behind him, clenched his fist with his 5 fingers, and struck a powerful and heavy punch directly on the hilt of the sword. PFF. The pig-toothed sword flew out like a bullet, directly piercing the heart of the assault lizard warrior. The attacking lizard warrior's eyes widened, and the red light on his body dissipated little by little. Finally, with a pop, he fell down unwillingly. Teammate Chu Jia killed the assault lizard warrior elite and gained 1,200 experience points. Teammate Chu Jia killed the assault lizard warrior elite and gained 1,200 experience points. Handsome. So handsome. Is this really a field master? Oh my god. I don't want an S-class career anymore. I also want to be a field master. Zhang Qianan, Tang Ya, and Qin Xiaoxiao watched Chu Jia walking freely among the monsters. In an instant, all 4 elite monsters were killed, and the envious saliva was about to flow out. As the 3 daughters of a big family, experts have naturally seen a lot of them. But Chu Jia is too young and has just changed jobs. With such terrifying strength now, I can't even imagine how high he will soar in the future. But there is no doubt that it is a level that they cannot even imagine. Whoa! Chu Jia swung his long sword and killed the last black stone monitor lizard, and this wave of monsters was completely cleared. These monsters should be the strongest mobs in the hidden dungeon. As long as they are wiped out, the only remaining challenge should be the hidden boss. Chu Jia walked up to the 3 women and expressed his judgment to encourage them. However, the 3 women seemed not to hear it and just looked at Chu Jia with admiration. Brother Jia, let's put this matter aside for now. Can you take a photo with me? Qin Xiaoxiao took out a pink camera and spoke shyly. What? Take a group photo? Sister, we're fighting monsters. Chu Jia thought he had heard wrongly, so he browsed the hidden map and took some photos. Who told you to be so strong? With your strength, it won't take long for you to shine. By then, we won't be from the same world. So, I just wanted to take a photo with you as a souvenir. Qin Xiaoxiao expressed her feelings aggrieved and helplessly. Chu Jia was suddenly stunned, a little dumbfounded, and said meaningfully. Haha, don't worry, no matter what happens in the future, we will still be friends. After all, there is something about you that is super attractive to me. Huh, really? Which point? Hearing what Chu Jia said, the three women felt warm in their hearts and couldn't help but smile beautifully. At the same time, the three women are also very curious, what is it about them that attracts Chu Jia so much? Is it beauty? Is it gentleness? Is it cuteness? Or is it pretty and charming? The three girls could not help but have wild thoughts at this moment. Of course you are all rich. Chu Jia grinned and gave a thumbs up to the three of them. Quote. The three women were speechless and wanted to beat Chu Jia violently. You can't see so many beautiful qualities in us. Do you only see money? You are a materialistic man. But what Chu Jia said next made the three women feel relieved instantly. But since you want to take a group photo, then go ahead. After all, it's our first time playing a hidden map, so it's quite memorable. Hearing that Chu Jia agreed to take a photo, Qin Xiaoxiao almost jumped up with joy. Take out a series of equipment such as a tripod, fill light board, and fill light from the backpack space to take a photo that you are satisfied with. I want to take pictures too. Tang Ya said lightly, then took out a small mirror and started touching up her makeup. Me too, Zhang Qianan said in a weak voice, her pretty face turned red and she was extremely shy. She never expected that someone as cold as her would one day actively ask others to take photos with her. Chu Jia got along very well with the three women and liked their personalities, so he naturally agreed to them all. The three women had been preparing for a long time with serious faces, as if they were marching to war, and they refused to ignore any detail. Finally, the three women installed the equipment, put on makeup, and even took off their combat uniforms and put on exquisite clothes. The appearance of the three women was already excellent, and after being carefully dressed up, their beauty almost glowed. Qin Xiaoxiao held Chu Jia's left arm very intimately, while Tang Ya naturally took Chu Jia's right hand. Zhang Qianan stood behind him a little shyly, but also tried hard to lean her body to get closer to Chu Jia. Click, click, click. The camera flashed continuously, capturing the beautiful moment of the three of them forever. After taking a group photo together, the three girls took several separate photos with Chu Jia in various poses. After taking the photo, the three girls were all smiling and extremely happy. We discussed together that after returning home, we would wash a few more and hang them in the room. After this short interlude, Chu Jia and the four others began to sweep away the lizard tribe. Kill the assault lizard warrior elite and gain 1,200 experience points. Kill the red eclipse lizard warrior elite and gain 1,200 experience points. Most of the lizardmen in the tribe are in their own dens. With Chu Jia leading the way and the three women assisting, the lizard men would often be choked by Chu Jia's sword as soon as they discovered Chu Jia. There is no need to go crazy or summon companions at all. The only trouble is that the red eclipse lizard warrior, that is, after the death of the female lizard, the poison sac in the body will explode. When they first met, Chu Jia was confused for a while. The cleanup operation is advancing steadily, and the level of the four people has reached LV 24. In less than a day, the level rose to level 9, which is simply appalling. Of course, Chu Jia was not surprised by this. After all, he was promoted to LV 15 on the first day of his job change. Brother Jia, come quickly. I found a monster, he seems to be stronger than the lizardman elite monster. Suddenly, Qin Xiaoxiao heard a low cry of surprise. When Chu Jia and the other two heard this, they all approached cautiously. I saw a male lizard lying on a female lizard in a wide stone house. Action, big opening and closing. The scene is extremely eye-catching. Qin Xiaoxiao watched attentively, and expressed his judgment with a solemn expression. Look, the other lizardmen are all riding black stone lizards, but this one is actually riding on another lizardman. Although nothing can be seen from the panel, I infer that this assault lizard warrior must be stronger, otherwise that one. Before Qin Xiaoxiao finished speaking, Tang Ya covered her eyes. Xiaoxiao, stop looking, daughter casting skills. Yes, just like your healing aura. Tang Ya's cheeks burned red as she explained hesitantly. Although she usually looks charming like a mature lady, she is just pretending to be having fun. She is just an 18-year-old girl after all. She said it was okay, but when she saw this exciting scene, she couldn't stand it on the spot. However, Tang Ya knew a little bit about it, while Zhang Qianan only had a rough idea. Seeing it with my own eyes at this moment, the mental impact I received was huge. The whole person's cheeks were red and he was frozen in place, and his little heart was beating wildly. It was even more exciting than the battle just now. Ah, hidden skill. Then the release time is too long, right? My healing aura can be released in 1 second. Qin Xiaoxiao didn't notice anything strange about her two best friends, and said with surprise on her face. The corners of Chu Jia's mouth twitched and he glanced at Tang Ya resentfully. What metaphor did you use? It's okay to release it in just 1 second. Seeing the shy and silly expressions of the three girls, Chu Jia no longer expected them to help him. Holding the sword, he entered the stone house and killed the 2 lizard men with 2 swords. Let their lives freeze at the climax moment. After solving these 2 lizard men, all the monsters in the tribe were basically wiped out. The 4 of them took a short rest and then continued down the slope. These lizard monsters obviously like water very much, so the further down you go, the more water sources are accumulated and the higher the monster level is. Not long after walking, the 4 of them arrived at the end of the cave. The seeping water gathered here to form a small pool, and a corrosion-maned lizard lay on the edge of the pool, breathing out a red poisonous gas from its nostrils. Its level has reached level 29, and its size is comparable to that of a black stone monitor lizard. It is the largest corrosion-maned lizard Chu Jia has seen along the way. However, what is more eye-catching is a lizard man in the pool. This lizard man's muscles are tangled, and the scales all over his body are dark gold in color. A pair of sharp claws, as long as a sickle, seem to be able to easily crack gold and stone. At the end of its thick tail, there is a ball of flesh like a meteor hammer, which is covered with spike-like horny structures. Crackclaw Lizard Leader, Hidden Boss. Level, LV 30. Physique, 111. Spirit, 102. Power, 121. Speed, 118. Skills, Madness, Crazy Claw, Sky Claw, Meteor Tail Hammer. Hiss, what a powerful hidden boss. Even the mounts are elite monsters. Qin Xiaoxiao opened her mouth slightly and whispered in fear. Although the previous elite monsters were also very strong, Qin Xiaoxiao was confident that he could still grind them to death with Krypton gold. But the power emanating from the hidden boss in front of him is too terrifying, and there is absolutely no chance of winning even if he pays for it with Krypton gold. Xiaoxiao, why do you always care so much about your mount? After what happened just now, Zhang Qianan and Tang Ya's cheeks will turn slightly red when they hear the word, mount. Suppressing the shyness in their hearts, the 2 of them looked at Chu Jia beside them with expectation. Chu Jia, what are you going to do? There is a hidden boss with all attributes exceeding 100, strength even exceeding 120, and even a powerful mount. They think they are not even qualified to compete. But Chu Jia is different. Along the way, Chu Jia created so many miracles, and they were even more shocked. Therefore, although they know that the challenge before them is as difficult as climbing to the sky, but they still vaguely hope that the man they admire will dare to accept the challenge. You can even kill them as a new job changer. Of course, if Chu Jia planned to stop and leave the hidden copy, they would have absolutely no objection. To have come this far has far exceeded their expectations. Under the eager gaze of the 2 women, Chu Jia smiled slightly and said calmly. We've killed all the lizard warriors, so we can't leave this polished leader alone. Of course we should send him away together. We are a family together. Seeing that Chu Jia answered so decisively, he was even in the mood to joke. The 2 girls were completely impressed by Chu Jia's magnanimity. Handsome, so handsome, you look handsome from the inside out. Hearts pounding like deer, the 2 women looked at Chu Jia with confused eyes and continued to ask. Chu Jia, do you need us to do something? We will do our best to help you. Chu Jia shook his head and said, it is still too dangerous for you to hide the boss. You can just stay and watch from a distance, and there is no need to assist me, lest the monster's hatred be transferred to you. Hearing this, the eyes of the 2 women dimmed slightly, feeling a little disappointed. But they also knew that Chujia was telling the truth and it was for their own good. So he nodded obediently and agreed, and told Chujia to be careful. Only Qin Xiaoxiao happily released the buffing skills for Chujia, feeling extremely proud and feeling like he was fighting alongside brother Jia. After Qin Xiaoxiao finished releasing his buffing skills, Chujia did not hesitate, holding the long sword in his hand and rushing out like the wind. The leader of the Clawed Claw Lizard, who was enjoying himself in the water pool, felt Chujia's aura, and his huge eyes suddenly opened. He let out an angry roar from his mouth, jumped out of the pool, waved his sharp claws, and also came towards Chujia to kill him. Clang! The long sword collided with the sharp claws, exploding into a string of dazzling sparks. Although the leader of the Split Claw Lizard is very strong, compared with Chujia, his power is far inferior. The 3-meter-tall beast's body was suppressed by Chujia's small body, and he kept retreating. What a powerful force! This feels so safe. The three girls never expected that Chujia would have an advantage in the pure strength competition during their first confrontation with the hidden boss. The beauty in her eyes was filled with brilliance, and she couldn't help but cheer. At this moment, several balls of venom were sprayed towards Chujia, as the corrosive-maned lizard waiting for an opportunity to attack Chujia. Chujia snorted coldly, and the long sword in his hand erupted with a terrifying force, knocking the leader of the clawed lizard back several meters. At the same time, he jumped into the air to avoid the venom attack. Roar! The leader of the Split Claw Lizard was very angry. He actually lost in strength to the little human in front of him. With a roar, it jumped directly onto the back of the corrosion-maned lizard and charged towards Chujia again. This time it was smarter, and before it even rushed in front of Chujia, it directly activated the skill, Crazy Claw Attack. The sharp claws were waving in the air so fast that one could almost see the afterimage. The dense claw marks intertwined into a large net, directly covering Chujia. The corrosive-maned lizard also opened its big mouth and continuously spit venom at Chujia. Facing such a fierce offensive, Chujia remained unfazed. His wrists started to move quickly as well, and his speed was comparable to that of the leader of the Split Claw Lizard. Between the vertical and horizontal sword energy, a sword energy shield condensed in front of him. Bang bang bang! The claw marks and sword energy collided and exploded fiercely, forming a series of disordered wind blades, cutting countless thrilling cracks on the ground and cave walls. The stinking venom was also dispersed by the sword energy and thrown to the ground, corroding deep pits on the ground. A deep shock gradually appeared in the bulging eyes of the leader of the Cleft Claw Lizard. It never expected that the weak human in front of it could receive all of its claw attacks without fail. There is a flaw. Chujia's eyes narrowed, and he keenly noticed a slight dullness in the leader of the Split Claw Lizard. The long sword flew into the air, piercing the claw marks, and directly stabbed the chest of the leader of the Clawed Lizard like a rainbow piercing the sun. Clang! Accompanied by a harsh sound of golden iron, the dark gold scales on the chest of the leader of the Split Claw Lizards cracked inch by inch, and the entire chest sank directly. The huge body flew out from the back of the corroded mane lizard and fell headlong into the pool. Dark green blood gushes out like a fountain, instantly dyeing the pool completely dark green. Chujia was about to continue his pursuit when the corrosive-maned lizard spat out a cloud of scarlet poisonous mist in front of him, forcing him to stop. Mad! This beast is so annoying. We have to deal with this beast first. Chujia cursed secretly and slashed several swords towards the poisonous mist. The surging sword energy dispersed all the poisonous mist. Looking towards the pool, Chujia couldn't help but shrink his pupils. The leader of the Clawed Claw Lizard had blood-red eyes at the moment, and his whole body was exuding a creepy blood-colored light. The water in the pool started to boil when it came into contact with its body. The hidden boss actually turned on madness directly. Oh my god! The hidden boss was turned into a madman by Chujia with 2 moves. Seeing the bloody light on the hidden boss, the 3 women exclaimed, excited and worried at the same time. Crazy is a buff skill that will only be activated when the monster is outmatched. It is often in the later stages of the battle that monsters will use this move to explode and launch a death-defying counterattack. Unexpectedly, Chujia only used 2 moves. What kind of incredible strength is this? However, after the monster becomes mad, its physical and mental strength will be greatly reduced, while its strength and speed will be greatly increased. Chu-jia, can he do it? Roar. The leader of the split-claw lizard roared angrily, mounted the corrosive mane lizard, and charged towards Chu-jia again violently. Swish, swish, swish. The sharp claws are swung in the air, and the sky claw is activated. 6 blood-red claw marks crisscrossed each other, flying through the air with great momentum. Chu-jia swung his long sword, intending to smash the claw marks directly into pieces. Just then, the leader of the split-claw lizard rushed in front of Chu-jia at high speed, spinning like a top, and the meteor tail hammer hit Chu-jia hard with the force of a mountain, crushing him. Splitting claw and meteor tail hammer were superimposed on each other. Even with Chu-jia's attributes, he felt a slight difficulty. The pig-tooth sword was deformed and twisted by the pressure, almost becoming an arch. Kacha! A subtle cracking sound came from the pig-tooth sword, and then countless cracks spread to the entire sword body. In Chu-jia's shocked eyes, the pig's tooth sword actually broke. Holding grass. Brother Jian, aren't you? It will continue in the morning, it will continue in the evening, but it will stop at this time. Helpless, Chu-jia had no choice but to drop the broken sword, punch the meteor tail hammer in the air, and use the force to quickly retreat. Seeing that Chu-jia's weapon was broken by him, the leader of the clawed lizard showed a ferocious smile. Just as he was about to continue attacking, he suddenly felt an itch on his back. Looking back, he saw 3 weak female humans sneaking up on him, hitting him on the back with various attacks. One of them holding a sword actually ran behind him. When Zhang Qianan and the 3 girls saw Chu-jia's weapon broken, they subconsciously rushed out together and launched an attack on the hidden boss. It's a pity that the leader of the split-claw lizard is too strong, and the 3 women's crazy bombardment didn't even leave a trace on the dark gold scales. The leader of the split-claw lizard swept his giant tail, and the meteor tail hammer hit Zhang Qianan's shield directly. Click, click, click. The shield's light flickered, and it shattered layer by layer. Zhang Qianan flew out, feeling tight in her chest and having difficulty breathing. The leader of the crackclaw lizard grinned widely, and was very happy to repel the enemy so easily. It drove the corrosive-maned lizard beneath it to rush toward the 3 women quickly. It wants to get rid of these 3 weak humans first, and then kill the troublesome one. Do I give you permission to go? At this moment, Chu-jia flashed in front of the leader of the split-claw lizard like a ghost, stretched out his hand and grabbed it in the air. A gap opened in the domain, and a sword of the domain instantly appeared in his hand. When the domain sword first appeared, it was still dull, like the most common and cheapest black iron long sword. But the moment it came into contact with Chu-jia's palm, the long sword was immediately washed away, shining like new, and a cold light emitted from the blade. Chu-jia held the long sword in his hand and swung a thrilling arc in the air, slashing directly into the abdomen of the leader of the split-claw lizard. Tisk! The scales shattered, and a ferocious line of blood exploded. Blood mixed with minced meat continued to pour out. So strong, he actually caused such serious injuries to the hidden boss with just one sword strike. Zhang Qianan stood up from the ground, protected by various shields, and she was not injured. Although it was risky to rush forward just now, it fortunately bought Chu-jia time to change weapons. But after Chu-jia put on a new sword, why did she feel an inexplicable sense of familiarity? Oh my god, so handsome. Qin Xiaoxiao was so handsome by Chu-jia's silky movement of picking up the sword from the void. But Chu-jia obviously didn't wear a dress-up ring. How did he change clothes instantly? Huh, what kind of sword is Chu-jia holding? How come I've never seen it before? Tang Ya was also shocked by the power of Chu-jia's sword. To have such power, this sword is absolutely extraordinary. As the little princess of Forged in the Sky, she has grown up looking at equipment illustrations since she was a child. But at this moment, I can't even recognize what kind of sword this is. The pig tusk sword is only a LV-10 weapon after all. It's not easy to persist until now. Now that I have put on the sword of the realm, we can have some fun. Chu-jia smiled coldly at the hidden boss, and the long sword in his hand flew out of the air, like a dazzling meteor, directly in front of the leader of the split-claw lizard. Before, he was just using his basic attributes to fight monsters, and he was still using LV-10 weapons. But now is when he just started to exert his strength. Roar! The leader of the Crackclaw lizard roared angrily, and his injury stimulated his madness, making it even crazier. The leader of the Crackclaw lizard stomped on the corroding main lizard and violently ordered it to charge forward. The sickle-like claws are raised high, ready to go. At the moment when the sharp claws and the long sword were about to collide, Chujia's lips curled up into a chuckle, his index finger pressed down slightly, and the long sword suddenly turned around and fell vertically downwards. The leader of the Crackclaw lizard hadn't realized what was happening. The next moment, the domain sword directly penetrated the head of the corrosion-maned lizard, nailing it to the ground. Kill the corrosive main lizard elite and gain 2000 experience points. The sword of the domain is no ordinary long sword. It is connected to Chujia's mind. Even if he loses his hand, Chujia can control it freely. Bang! The mount under his feet suddenly stopped, and the leader of the split-claw lizard fell directly to the ground due to inertia. The sword of the domain flew up again, and according to Chujia's wishes, it slashed wildly at the back of the leader of the split-claw lizards. Although the domain sword has no grades, the power of a sword cannot be compared to ordinary equipment. There was no need to activate the sword energy at all. With one strike of the sword, the dark gold scales were cut open as easily as tissue paper, cutting the back of the leader of the split-claw lizards to a bloody pulp. Roar! The severe pain caused the leader of the split-claw lizard to almost lose his mind, and it attacked the domain sword crazily. However, how can it catch up with the speed of the domain sword? The cleft-claw lizard leader's attacks were all in vain, and the wounds on his body were increasing. The hidden boss, which made countless career changers talk about it, was easily manipulated by Chujia like an ant at this moment. Finally, after Chujia got tired of playing with it, he chopped off its head with a sword. Kill the split-claw lizard leader, hidden boss, and gain 10,000 experience points. The knot is over. So hasty. Zhang Qianan stared at Chujia blankly, almost unable to believe her eyes. I thought I had seen the peak of Chujia's strength. I never expected that that was still not all of Chujia. In the face of his true strength, the hidden boss after becoming mad can only be played like a monkey. OMG, what kind of monster is this? The level 30 hidden boss is so vulnerable in front of Chujia. Being with Chujia makes me feel so safe. I don't know if he can like me. Tang Ya's charming red lips opened widely, and the shock in her eyes could not be concealed at all costs. The girl's heart was beating wildly, her beautiful eyes were staring at Chujia unblinkingly, and it was difficult to move even an inch. She decided to change her voluptuous and charming style in the future and become a pure royal sister. Such a pure and lustful self will definitely attract Chujia. Dead. The hidden boss is dead. We really cleared the hidden map. Wow, Brother Jia is so awesome. Qin Xiaoxiao's pretty face flushed with excitement, and her whole body trembled with excitement. Chujia really took them through the hidden map in the rugged plain. Even LV40 job changers may not be able to do it. What's more important is that Chujia passed the level so easily and elegantly. Even if the hidden boss turns on the madness, there is nothing you can do against Chujia. The elegant and handsome swordsmanship, as well as the free shuttle flying sword, are deeply imprinted in Qin Xiaoxiao's heart. It was something she would never forget. Brother Jia, you are simply another sword fairy. Brother Jia, you are simply another sword fairy. Qin Xiaoxiao originally just wanted to express his admiration for Chujia. However, the speaker has no intention and the listener has intention. Sword immortal. Wait, I remembered. Zhang Qianan's beautiful eyes suddenly opened wide, and the vague feeling of familiarity in her heart gradually became clear. Isn't this feeling exactly the unique sword intention of the sword immortal in the Wild Boar Forest dungeon? Could it be that Chujia is the sword immortal? Zhang Qianan's heart was beating wildly, her breathing seemed to be stagnant, and she almost couldn't believe her own inference. Haha, luckily I did not disgrace my life. Hidden boss does indeed have some strength. Chujia put away his sword of domain and walked towards the three women with ease. At this moment, a large amount of experience poured into the bodies of the four people, and their levels directly broke through to LV25. When I came out in the morning, I was still at level 15. Before the day was over, I was directly raised to level 25. Originally, the three girls thought it would be good if they could get 2 levels up today. I never expected to be directly promoted to level 10. The three girls were so happy that they couldn't help themselves. Brother Jia, the hidden boss revealed something good, please show it to us. If there is anything you don't need, we can buy it at a high price. Hehe, I will never let you suffer. Although he is the same age as Chu Jia, after seeing Chu Jia's strong strength, Qin Xiaoxiao completely regarded Chu Jia as an older brother. Zhang Qianan and Tang Ya nodded in agreement, their beautiful eyes unblinking, looking at Chu Jia expectantly. No problem. Chu Jia readily agreed that if he sold it to these three little rich women, he would definitely make more money than if he sold it to anyone else. In the case of team formation, there are three loot distribution modes: contribution mode, kill mode and collective distribution mode. The contribution mode is to distribute according to the amount of damage, and the person with the highest amount of damage gets the spoils. In the kill mode, regardless of other factors, whoever gives the monster the final blow will get the loot. The collective distribution mode will collect the loot into a public backpack space, and taking the loot from it requires the consent of all teammates. Zhang Qianan set up a contribution model, so Chu Jia pocketed almost all the loot along the way. The hidden boss revealed a total of 4 trophies. Let's take a look at them one by one. Chu Jia said as he took out the first trophy, a priest skill book. Blood Prayer, first level advanced. Occupation requirement, Pastor. Skill effect. The arrival of the bloody holy light will increase the target's strength and speed attributes by 20 points, and the effect lasts for 30 seconds. After the effect ends, the target's strength and speed will be reduced by 20 points, and the duration will be 40 seconds. Wow, it's a first-level advanced skill. Although it has negative effects, it can increase 40 attributes in half a minute. It's so powerful. Brother Jia, sell it to me for 100,000 yuan, please. Qin Xiaoxiao's eyes suddenly lit up when she saw the Blood Prayer skill book, and she shook Chu Jia's arm and kept acting coquettishly. A 30-second super boost is enough for a battle. This is much stronger than her prayer halo. Okay, I'll sell you. Chu Jia smiled and handed the skill book to Qin Xiaoxiao. Although this skill book was dropped by the hidden boss, its market price is only 50,000 yuan. The little rich woman not only doubled up, but also begged herself coquettishly. Who can withstand this? Immediately afterwards, Chu Jia took out the second trophy. This is a red ring, crystal clear and very beautiful. Blood Jade Ring, silver. Level, LV 30. Effect, Spirit plus 20. Level 30 equipment can increase spiritual attributes by 20 points. Even among silver equipment, it is considered top-notch. Chu Jia looked at Tang Ya and asked, Tang Ya, do you want this ring? The mental attribute can increase spell damage. Among the 4, only Tang Ya, the fire mage, is the most suitable to use this equipment. Tang Ya nodded like a chicken pecking rice. Yes. 210,000. Is that okay? Ah, so much. 140,000 is enough. Chu Jia was shocked by Tang Ya's quotation. This ring was sold for 70,000 yuan, and Tang Ya actually quoted 3 times the price. This girl's family sells equipment, shouldn't the price premium be so high? No. Just 210,000. I like this number. Tang Ya refused to accept Chu Jia's price reduction, which fully demonstrated what it means to be rich and willful. Then, she stretched out her hand expectantly, raising her ring finger slightly. The meaning is self-evident, please wear it for me. Since Tang Ya didn't care anymore, Chu Jia couldn't say anything else and put the blood jade ring on Tang Ya's finger, earning an extra 70,000 yuan in tears. The LV30 blood jade ring has no effect at all when worn by level 25 Tang Ya. It is a pure decoration. But she still couldn't put it down and looked at the ring, her face full of happiness. Ah, Chu Jia put a ring on me. Oh my god, is this a proposal? So shy. The third trophy is another skill book, but it is for the swordsman profession. 3 consecutive blasts of wind, top level 1. Professional requirements, swordsman, skill effect. Swing forward 3 slashes at a speed as fast as the wind, each slash causing 150% damage. Oh, it's actually a first-level top skill. Seeing the level of this skill book, even Chu Jia couldn't help but be surprised. It stands to reason that the top-level skill books of the first level often require level 80 or 90 monsters to be released. I never expected that a copy of this LV30 hidden boss would be revealed. Even if the boss is hidden, this is quite rare. When Zhang Qianan saw this skill book, surprise appeared in her beautiful eyes. This, 3 continuous wind slash, should be the superior skill of his, quick wind slash. Before the second level of LV100, this skill can be said to be one of the strongest skills of the swordsman profession. Chu Jia, Just when Zhang Qianan was about to open her mouth to purchase the skill book, she saw Chu Jia pinch it lightly, and the skill book shattered into dots of light and sank into Chu Jia's body. Zhang Qianan was dumbfounded. Wait, what's going on? Chu Jia, he used the skill book. No, isn't he a domain master? How can he use the swordsman's skill book? Tang Ya and Qin Xiaoxiao also looked at Chu Jia blankly, with incredible expressions on their faces. But soon, they understood, and looked like they suddenly realized. Brother Jia, it turns out you are a swordsman. I'm just telling you, how can a field master be so strong? As they spoke, the 2 girls glanced at Zhang Qianan resentfully, as if blaming her for not even knowing their career information, causing them to embarrass themselves in front of Chu Jia. Chu Jia is a swordsman. But the information clearly shows that he is a field master. He even admitted it himself. Zhang Qianan felt a little pain in her head and her brain cells were a little low. Chu Jia chuckled and didn't explain anything. You can't say that because the field master is too strong. I also work part-time as a swordsman. Next, Chu Jia took out the last trophy. This is a sharp sword, the blade is as bright as a mirror, emitting a cold light, and there is a ferocious lizard carved on it. Lizard pattern long sword, silver. Level, LV30. Effect, strength plus 15, speed plus 10. The overall attributes of this sword are even higher than the blood jade ring, making it the best of the best. When Zhang Qianan saw this long sword, she liked it very much, but she didn't ask to buy it. After all, his needs conflict with Chu Jia's. Chu Jia will probably keep this sword for himself. Hey, Zhang Qianan felt very disappointed when she thought that her 2 best friends had gotten the trophies, but she had gotten nothing. It's not because these trophies are precious, but because these trophies are very meaningful. This represents their first time clearing the hidden map, and it also represents the time spent fighting with Chu Jia. Just when Zhang Qianan sighed secretly, a strong hand handed the lizard pattern long sword directly to her eyes. Qianan, let me use this sword for you. Chu Jia said sincerely with a bright smile on his face. Chu Jia, who owns the Sword of Domain, actually has very low requirements for weapons. In addition, his upgrade speed is too fast, and this sword will probably be obsolete in a short time. Instead of using it myself, it would be more valuable to give Zhang Qian a letter. Give it to me. Zhang Qianan's face was filled with surprise. She didn't expect Chu Jia to be willing to part with this top-quality long sword. How much? Is 300,000 okay? Because of the surprise, Zhang Qianan also revealed a staggering price. 300,000 is a large amount of money for Zhang Qianan. After all, as the guard's daughter, she is actually inferior to Tang Ya and Qin Xiaoxiao in terms of wealth. However, she felt that buying this long sword for 300,000 yuan was definitely worth it. Chu Jia smiled and waved his hand. No, I'll just give you this lizard pattern sword. After all, you helped me a lot with Liang Jinming's matter. Zhang Qianan's cheeks turned slightly red after hearing this, and she took the lizard pattern sword with great embarrassment. If Chu Jia had said this before, she would have accepted it as a matter of course. But after seeing Chu Jia's true strength, she knew very well that Chu Jia could easily solve the problem even without herself. What's more, Chu Jia might be the legendary swordsman. Okay, the hidden map is cleared, let's go out. There's still about an hour until 6 o'clock, hurry up, maybe you can even level up. Chu Jia took the 3 girls and started walking back to the rugged plain. Along the way, Chu Jia and the 3 women had a lively chat. After today's team upgrade and experiencing extremely dangerous challenges together, the relationship between Chu Jia and the 3 women heated up quickly. Although we have known each other for less than a day, we have become very good friends. Zhang Qianan looked at Chu Jia with her beautiful eyes, feeling that the young man in front of her was so powerful and mysterious. She really wanted to ask, Chu Jia, are you a sword fairy? But when the words come to my lips, I can't always say them out. She was worried that once she said it, once Chujia really was the sword immortal, the beautiful atmosphere would be shattered in an instant. Chujia and the four of them were singing and laughing all the way, which seemed to add a bit of color to the dim cave. Soon, the four people came out of the hidden map. After the hidden map is cleared, the space gate will no longer be hidden, and the monsters in it will be refreshed normally. It's just that the level and difficulty will be downgraded to the normal difficulty of the rugged plains. Just when the four of them were still immersed in the joy of clearing the hidden map, several shadow arrows suddenly flew out from behind a reef and burst towards the four of them. Careful, Chujia keenly noticed the sneak attack, opened his big hands, hugged the three women directly, and retreated backwards. Three beauties hugged each other at the same time, and their fragrant body fragrance made people daydream about them. But at this moment, Chujia had no intention of enjoying it. He placed the three women on the edge of the hidden map and took a step forward to block them. Bang bang bang. The shadow arrow pierced the ground, and the power of shadow exploded, forming several large deep pits. It's interesting, I actually avoided it. Young handsome boy, I can't tell you are quite capable. Along with a numbing sound, a scantily clad woman with red lips walked out from behind the boulder. Behind the other two boulders, a short young man and a strong man with a scarred face also came out. The three of them have been ambushing here for some time. Originally, to enter a hidden dungeon, it was often necessary to leave someone outside to guard the place, or to set up a barrier to prevent outsiders from discovering it and causing malicious intent. But Chujia and others were entering for the first time and had no experience, so they were found so easily by the three strong men with scarred faces. After discovering that Chujia and Zhang Qianan had entered the hidden map, the three of them decided to ambush outside. After all, the situation in the hidden map is unknown, and there are various powerful hidden monsters. If something goes wrong, the people above will not spare them. Tisk, tisk, you pick up 3 girls by yourself, you are so lucky. But, can your small body bear it? Why don't you, uncle, let me help you share the burden. The scar-faced strong man looked greedily at the 3 women behind Chujia, looking at their bodies wantonly. The young master's mission only requires bringing back Chujia and Zhang Qianan. Aren't the other 2 beauties, who are like flowers and jade, their trophies? Tisk tisk, he hasn't tasted such a young and beautiful body for who knows how long. Copy robber. Chujia and the other 4 looked at the 3 people who showed no concealment of their malice, with solemn expressions in their eyes. Dungeon robbers are a group of people who make profits by kidnapping other job transferees. Because the monitoring and communication in the replica are greatly affected, it is extremely difficult to manage. Evil breeds in this environment, and eventually forms such a dark and evil group as dungeon robbers. I am the daughter of the governor of Dongsheng City, Zhang Qianan. You 3, leave now and I can pretend that nothing happened. Zhang Qianan took a step forward and stood side by side with Chujia. She looked at the 3 people opposite her with cold eyes, directly revealing her identity. It can be seen from the shadow arrow attack just now that the strength of the 3 of them is quite terrifying, and it is definitely not something that the 4 new job transfers can compete with. Therefore, she could only reveal her identity and try to scare away the 3 people with her reputation as a guard. However, when the 3 scarred strong men heard this, they burst into laughter. Ha 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 ha, thank you for telling us so honestly. That way, we can be sure we've got the right person. Hearing this, Chujia and the 4 others were shocked at the same time. These 3 dungeon robbers didn't meet by chance. They came specifically for Zhang Qianan. Who are you? What's your purpose? If you dare to attack me, aren't you afraid of my father's crazy revenge? Zhang Qianan's face was as gloomy as water. She never expected that someone in Dongsheng City would dare to attack her, the daughter of the guard. The scar-faced strong man didn't care about Zhang Qianan's threat and said contemptuously. Humph, guarding is nothing. There are big figures above to support us. The short young man glanced at the scar-faced strong man impatiently. Why bother with them so much? Finish the task quickly and don't keep the young master waiting. After saying that, the short young man smiled ferociously, held a long sword in his hand, and rushed towards Chujia at an extremely fast speed. The young master said that this boy named Chujia can play whatever he wants. Then he won't be polite, he will chop off both arms first to see the blood. Chu-jia, be careful. The faces of Zhang Qianan and the three girls turned pale with fright. I saw the short young man arriving in front of Chu-jia almost in the blink of an eye. His long sword flashed with cold light and slashed straight towards Chu-jia's right arm. Facing the swift and fierce offensive, Chu-jia's expression remained unchanged, his palms were held empty, and the domain sword suddenly appeared in his hand. He stood there, not dodging or dodging, and also raised his sword to chop off the short young man's arm. Huh, are you planning to trade injuries with me? What a boy, you have courage. It's a pity it's useless. With my speed, I can still dodge calmly after cutting off your arm. Ha ha, it's because your level is too low. The short young man laughed wildly, as if he had seen the tragic scene of Chu-jia losing his arm after his plan failed. The next moment, the long sword was about to hit Chu-jia, it seemed to have slipped and deflected uncontrollably, slashing towards the ground. The short young man's pupils shrank suddenly, and before he could understand what was happening, his left arm suddenly hurt violently. Hot blood splashed everywhere, and a big arm flew high into the air. HMPH. This dwarf is really a thief. I was reluctant when I accepted the task, but now I have to take the lead again. Seeing the short young man rushing out first, the scarred man could not help but curse. The three of them have been working together for a long time and know the basics. The short young man looks as timid as a mouse, but in fact he is as fierce and cunning as a poisonous snake. If he takes action, Chu-jia and others will have no chance of winning. Haha, this is a task shared by the three of us. Since he is willing to contribute, let him go. The woman with red lips leaned leisurely on the rock and said lazily. I just feel sorry for that handsome boy named Chu-jia. I'm afraid he will suffer some inhuman torture. To deal with 4 new job transfers, one short young man is enough. The scarred-faced man and the red-lipped woman watched leisurely, their faces full of banter, looking forward to the upcoming killing show. Whoa, whoa, 2 sword lights flashed across almost at the same time, an arm flew high into the air, and blood spilled into the sky. Ah, my arm. The short young man covered his empty left shoulder and howled heartbreakingly. The pupils of the scarred man and the red-lipped woman suddenly shrank and they exclaimed. How? How is this possible? The expected scene of Chu-jia wailing did not appear. Instead, the short young man lost an arm and was dripping with blood. A short young man at level 45 had a sword duel with Chu-jia, who had just changed professions, and the short young man actually lost. No, this kid is weird, let's get together. The scar-faced strong man roared and rushed towards Chu-jia like a tank. As he ran, his hands were gradually covered by thick rocks, which were extremely hard. His profession is A-level, rock warrior, and his terrifying strength and defense are his advantages. The red-lipped woman's heart trembled, and she also pressed the magic book and started chanting quickly. She didn't know how Chu-jia could avoid the attack and cut off the short young man's arm at the same time. But if he could hurt the short young man, it meant he could hurt her, which gave the red-lipped woman a vague feeling of bad premonition. Perhaps, this mission is not as simple as imagined. What on earth did you kid just do? The short young man roared hysterically. It was clear that Chu-jia was only a few inches away from cutting off Chu-jia's arm, but this guy didn't know what weird skills he used to deflect his own attack. This guy is so insidious. Naturally, the short young man didn't know that Chu-jia, who possesses the Tiandao sword body, is the true co-master of 10,000 swords. How can a mere mortal sword dare to touch the sword master's body? Chu-jia ignored the three people's reactions and slashed upward with the long sword in his hand. Several sword energy burst out, instantly cutting the short young man's broken arm into countless pieces of flesh, completely ending his hope of recovering his arm. Ah, Chu-jia, you fool, what did you just do? My arm. How dare you destroy my arm? I want you dead. Seeing this scene, the short young man's eyes were about to burst. Regardless of the bleeding and severed arm, he rushed towards Chu-jia like a madman. Huh, how does this person know my name? Chu-jia frowned, he had never announced his identity in front of the three of them. Before he had time to think about it, the short young man and the scarred-faced strong man were already in front of him in a pincer attack. The scar-faced strong man clasped his arms together and raised them high, like 2 thick stone pillars, smashing towards Chu-jia like a mountain. Chu-jia ignored the short young man. As long as the short young man continued to attack with his long sword, he would never be able to hurt him. 3 consecutive blasts of lightning. The 3 slashes were as fast as lightning, and they struck directly on the rocky arm of the scar-faced man at a terrifying speed that could not be caught by the naked eye. Based on Chu-jia's extremely high attributes, coupled with the high multiplier of triple wind slash, and the Tiandao sword body's 100% increase in sword skills. Even though there was a difference of 20 levels, Chu-jia's attack still shattered the hard rock on the scar-faced man's arm like a torrent, and tore a deep wound on his rough arm. What? You actually broke my rock gauntlet. The scarred man's eyes were wide open, as if he had seen a ghost. How high the defense of his rock armor is, those who died in his hands know best, the job transferees of the same level. Now he was shattered by a new job changer. The scar-faced brawny man felt that his worldview had been impacted, and he was stunned for a moment. You were so scared. What a great opportunity. One blow shattered the scarred man's rock gauntlet, and Chu-jia's jaw was also shaken with severe pain. But when he saw the scar-faced strong man, he froze in place. He endured the severe pain and had to strike again. The long sword flew into the air with awe-inspiring intent, and pierced the chest of the scar-faced strong man like a shooting star. The short young man and the red-lipped woman were shocked when they saw this scene. Wind slash. The short young man's sword flashed wildly, as fast as a phantom, and he directly used the skill, wind slash. However, the moment the long sword was about to contact Chu-jia, it deflected uncontrollably in the other direction. The short young man staggered and almost fell. Angrily, he slashed at Chu-jia again, and the sword bounced away again. The red-lipped woman condensed a shadow black python, twisted her body, and bit Chu-jia in an attempt to block Chu-jia's attack on the scarred man. Just when the shadow black python was within 5 meters of Chu-jia, 6 flying swords appeared out of thin air. A flying sword penetrated from the ferocious mouth and stirred wildly. The other 5 flying swords were cutting wildly on the scales of the shadow black python, and the sword energy surged, making bursts of sonorous collision sounds. In order to block the shadow black python, Chu-jia summoned the domain sword again. Under the joint stranglehold of several domain swords, the body of the shadow black python gradually became thinner, and finally dissipated unwillingly in front of Chu-jia. At the same time, Chu-jia finally rushed in front of the scarred man and stabbed out with his long sword. At this moment, the scar-faced strong man suddenly woke up and subconsciously turned his body to protect his vitals. The long sword pierced the scar-faced man's right arm with a puff sound, and penetrated out. Ah! The scar-faced strong man cried out in pain, and his right arm hung down weakly, unable to be raised again. How is it possible? This guy is really a new job changer. The scarred man retreated in horror, looking at Chu-jia with a hint of fear in his eyes. 3 level 45 job transfers besieged them together. Not only did they fail to achieve success quickly, they actually caused Chu-jia to break one of his arms. Not to mention meeting him, he had never heard of such a terrifying new job changer. Mater, what kind of defensive skills does this kid have? Why is it slipperier than a loach? He clearly hated Chu-jia deeply, but he couldn't attack Chu-jia no matter what. This made the short young man almost crazy with anger. More importantly, he couldn't tell what skills Chu-jia used. Chu-jia seemed to have done nothing and ignored him, but he couldn't hit Chu-jia. This made the short young man even more angry. What kind of skill is this? It summons so many flying swords. How could my shadow black python be killed so easily? The red-lipped woman was equally horrified. Her shadow black python has killed several job transferees of the same level. She never thought that one of her trump cards would be so fragile. The red-lipped woman calmed down her sloppy state, looked at Chu-jia with cold eyes, and said gloomily, "This kid is so weird. Change will happen late. Don't hold back at all, seriously injure him quickly. If it doesn't work, it's okay to kill him directly. I'll explain to the young master afterwards." Good. The short young man and the scarred-faced strong man had no objection at all. Phantom sword slash, rock crash, shadow cage. The 3 level 45 job transferees unleashed their strongest moves one after another. Hold the grass. It's okay to bully the small with the big, how about you bully the small with the more? How shameless. Seeing the terrorist attack coming, Jia couldn't help but curse. It looked like he had the advantage in the fight just now, but it was just a surprise victory. The huge strength of the scar-faced man was so strong that his palms were still numb, and the 6 swords of the realm were almost cutting the curling blades before he could kill the shadow black python. Now if you want to kill the 3 of them, in addition to using the power of the field, you can only wait for an opportunity to make a sneak attack. Jia kept moving and dodging the attacks of the 3 men in a thrilling way. For a moment, he looked quite embarrassed. Seeing this, the strong man with the scarred face and the woman with red lips gradually relaxed their expressions. Jia is indeed very strong, incredibly strong. But after all, they were newcomers to the profession. Under their terrifying suppression at level 45, they could only flee in panic and had no time to fight back. Of course, except for the attack by the short young man. Facing the short young man's attack, Jia didn't even look at him and showed no respect. Dwarf, if you continue paddling, be careful of me suing you at the young master's house. The scarred strong man cursed at the short young man. If it hadn't been for the poor young man's strength, they might have captured Jia. That's bullshit paddling. I've never worked so hard on a pussy before. The main thing is that this kid is trying to defeat me. He's so careless. The short young man also cursed loudly. He exerted all his energy in sucking the milk and was sweating profusely, but he didn't manage to hit Jia. The short young man was so aggrieved that he almost vomited blood. What to do? What to do? I'm afraid Jia won't be able to hold on much longer. Tanya stared at the battle situation without blinking, sweating profusely. She also tried to use fire spells to assist Jia just now, but her attack was too weak in front of a level 45 job changer. The 3 of them didn't even need to block, they could easily resist with their bodies. Zhang Qianan also bit her red lips, thinking hard about how to break the situation. Her pink-red lips were bitten by her and bled, but she didn't even notice. She had used her cell phone several times just now, intending to contact her father and the administrator of the copy. However, there is no signal on the mobile phone. It is obvious that the robbers used shielding props. This made Zhang Qianan feel deeply powerless for a moment, and she even wanted to rush forward and fight with Jia, even if she died. Qin Xiaoxiao was holding a golden skill scroll tightly, trembling with fear. This is the life-saving trump card her father gave her, a second-level skill scroll, which contains the second-level advanced skill, Pyroblast. This skill scroll may be able to kill the dungeon robbers, but the range of Pyroblast is too large, and it may be difficult for them to escape at their level. Once used, it will result in 1,000 injuries to the enemy and 800 losses to oneself. Although I am very scared, at this point, I can only use it. She absolutely didn't want to see Jia killed in front of her. Just when Qin Xiaoxiao was trembling and planning to use the Pyroblast skill scroll, the battle situation suddenly changed. Jia left the battle circle with an ugly expression and stood in the distance, looking coldly at the 3 dungeon robbers. Because the 3 of them were on guard, several of their sneak attacks failed, which made Jia feel a little angry. Forget it. There will be no results if we continue to fight. The level gap is here after all. It's pretty good that I can persist for so long under the hands of 3 level 45 job transferees at level 25. That is to say, my profession is too powerful. If I were to switch to any other profession, I might not be able to survive even 1 second under the level 20 dimensionality reduction attack. Originally, Jia did not intend to use the power of the domain. After all, the Liang group must still be looking for him everywhere, and they have a second-level master in charge. A second-level transfer master is a job transfer person above level 100. Even if he has the domain of swords, he may not be able to fight back against such a strong person. However, now that someone has been bullied to the point where his life may be in danger if he doesn't use all his strength, Jia doesn't need to worry about anything else. What? It's not working anymore. Have you recognized the reality? Haha, just give up your struggle, and I can still give you a good time. The strong man with a scar face raised his left arm weighing hundreds of kilograms of rock and laughed ferociously. Jia was the only genius he had ever seen in his life. It was a great joy in life to bury such a dazzling genius with his own hands. After catching him, I will chop him with a few swords first. The short young man roared breathlessly. This was simply his most frustrating mission. He's at the end of his strength, so I'll leave it to you. I'll take care of those 3 women first. The woman with red lips gave Chujia a cold look, and finally let go of the heavy stone in her heart. A genius who has not grown up is not a genius. She took out a dagger in her hand and looked at Zhang Qianan and the 3 girls with a viper-like gaze. There are actually 2 types of dungeon robbers, one looking for money and the other looking for pleasure. The 3 of them belong to the latter category. They enjoy the joy of killing and the appearance of other job transferees humbly begging for mercy. What women with red lips like most is to paint on other women's faces and use a dagger to draw bright red marks. Blood mixed with tears are traces that they will never be able to erase for the rest of their lives. It's a pity that the young master asked to protect Zhang Qianan's face, which reduced her happiness by 1/3 today. Just when the red-lipped woman was about to arrive in front of Zhang Qianan and the others, the sky suddenly darkened. A terrifying sword intent that seemed to come from the 9 heavens and 10 earths descended here in an instant. The short young man, the scarred man, and the red-lipped woman felt as if they were locked by some kind of terrifying existence. They subconsciously looked towards the sky, and their pupils were so shocked that they almost tore open. I saw a terrifying mountain, tearing apart space like a wild beast, appearing little by little over the rugged plain. The overwhelming feeling of oppression made the 3 of them stop breathing. What made them even more horrified was that the towering mountain was not made of rocks, but of countless dark and powerful swords. Wait, why does this sword look so familiar? Isn't this the sword Chu Jia used just now? Is it? Impossible. How is it possible? The eyes of the 3 dungeon robbers were splitting, and they absolutely did not believe that this terrifying sword mountain was actually the work of Chu Jia. The vast sword intent carries a huge force and presses downwards. The 3 of them felt their shoulders sink, and they knelt down uncontrollably. The short young man looked horrified and tried hard to swing his sword towards the sky. However, the long sword was immediately released and flew towards Jian Mountain. The red-lipped woman instantly condensed shadow arrows and shadow black pythons to block her in front of her, and at the same time, she condensed a shadow cage to protect herself. However, under the sword intent as big as a river, these attacks were like a leaf of duckweed, being washed away by the sword intent and disappearing in an instant. The scar-faced strong man relied on his strong body to hold on for a little longer, but with all the power of the domain released, he could only surrender unwillingly. Click, click, click. Ah! The 3 of them knelt heavily on the ground, their knees shattered, and they wailed in pain. When level 25 Chu Jia fully unleashed his domain power, the 3 level 45 job transferees collapsed at the first touch. The power of the domain is so terrifying. Isn't this the vision when the sword immortal appeared? I didn't expect that this mountain is entirely made of swords. It's so shocking. My heart feels like it's going to jump out of my chest. Wait, why did the sword immortal suddenly appear? Isn't the sword immortal here to save us specifically? Zhanxian must have known that we formed a Zhanxian fan group. Is this the bond between fans and idols? Great, we are saved. Tang Ya and Qin Xiaoxiao looked at the huge mountain above the sky in shock, their pretty faces flushed with excitement, which was really tempting. When they were on the verge of despair and were about to die together, the sudden appearance of Sword Mountain was like the light before dawn, making the 2 completely believe that they had a telepathic connection. Sword Immortal, Sword Dance for 9 heavens. Sword Immortal, endless sword intention and endless love. We will always be your little fans. Only Zhang Qianan stared at Chu Jia with complicated emotions in his eyes. Sure enough, Chu Jia is the Sword Immortal. Ah, Chu Jia is a swordsman. Qianan, what are you talking about? Tang Ya and Qin Xiaoxiao's eyes were attracted by Luanjian Mountain and they had no time to care about anything else. Hearing Zhang Qianan's words, the 2 thought she was joking. However, the moment they looked at Chu Jia, their voices suddenly stopped. At this moment, Chu Jia's demeanor suddenly changed, and his entire body was filled with terrifying sword intent, as if he had the potential to swallow up mountains and rivers. That terrifying sword intent that is like a vast ocean, even if you touch it even slightly, you will feel tingling all over your body, as if you are being gently cut by countless blades. Chic and elegant, with an extraordinary temperament, just like a real banished immortal descending to the mortal world. This moment, they finally figured it out. This majestic and towering sword mountain turned out to be Chu Jia's domain. Chu Jia is really a domain master. The first field master in history to own a field. Chu Jia stepped on the flying sword, flew at low altitude in front of the 3 dungeon robbers, and said coldly, "I ask, you answer, you only have one chance." Without waiting for the 3 people to reply, Chu Jia looked at the short young man and asked directly, "Who sent you?" This. The short young man hesitated and hesitated, not knowing whether he should tell the truth or not. The Chu Jia in front of him is certainly terrifying, but the Liang group is an even bigger behemoth, and both sides are not easy to mess with. It must be Liang Jinming. Just when the short young man hesitated, Chu Jia's voice sounded again. If the 3 of them came simply for the guarding daughter, Chu Jia really couldn't tell who was behind the scenes. But the short young man once made a mistake and called out his own name, which is intriguing. His common enemy with Zhang Qianan had the capital to send 3 level 45 job transfers to carry out the assassination. The truth is self-evident. Liang Group, Liang Jinming. The short young man was shocked when he heard this, but he didn't expect that Chu Jia already knew the truth. It would be really stupid for him to continue to hide it. Yes, it was Liang Jinming who asked us to come. Sir, Before the short young man finished speaking, a flying sword flashed with cold light and cut the short young man in half. Too slow to answer, Chu Jia came to the scarred man and spoke in a deep voice again. "Where is Liang Jinming now?" The scarred man raised his head with difficulty, looked at Chu Jia, and asked hoarsely, "If I tell you, will you spare me?" "No, but you can die happily." Chu Jia's answer was decisive and he didn't hide anything. When the scar-faced strong man heard this, he suddenly laughed ferociously. "Then I'll tell you shit. Chu Jia, it doesn't matter how powerful you are, how can a mere individual go against such a behemoth as the Liang Group? From now on, you will live in fear of the Liang Group." Ha 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 ha. Chu Jia looked at the scar-faced strong man expressionlessly. After he finished speaking, he coldly dropped 4 words. "As you wish." The next moment, 2 flying swords pierced the shoulder blades of the scarred man, and took him straight to the sky. Countless flying swords flew out from Luanjian Mountain and shuttled around the scar-faced man at extremely fast speeds. Every time you travel, a thin layer of flesh and blood must be cut off. Layer after layer, layer after layer. The punishment of Ling Kai was to be cut into pieces with 1,000 swords. In an instant, heart-rending screams resounded throughout the sky. Chu Jia knew that his methods were cruel, but he didn't care. Liang Jinming used abandoned copies to trick him, then came to bully him, and finally sent a killer to assassinate him. How have they ever been kind to themselves? Chu Jia will not show any mercy to his enemies. Where is Liang Jinming now? Chu Jia slowly walked up to the red-lipped woman and asked the same question. The woman with red lips was so frightened that her face turned pale and she kowtowed repeatedly. 5 kilometers to the north, there is a huge reef there. Liang Jinming made an appointment with us to meet there. Hearing this, Chu Jia said nothing, closed his eyes, and directly activated field vision. The location mentioned by the red-lipped woman happened to be within the coverage area of the field, and he could easily judge whether what she said was true or false. Soon, Chu Jia saw the huge rock. However, Chu Jia did not find Liang Jinming's figure, but instead found many traces of traps. "Oh, that should be your stronghold. So, are you planning to lure me there and then use a trap to escape? You even want to take the opportunity to kill me?" Chu Jia opened his eyes again, looking at the red-lipped woman calmly, but what he said made her feel like she had fallen into an ice cave. How do you know?" The woman with red lips looked at Chu Jia in horror. She didn't understand why Chu Jia saw through his plan after thinking for a moment. The wailing of the scarred man was still echoing in her ears, and the red-lipped woman thought of her own fate for a moment. A bone-chilling fear suddenly emerged in her heart, and she kowtowed as hard as hitting the ground with a heavy hammer, begging for mercy again and again. "Sir, I was wrong. I shouldn't have been petty. I just wanted to escape. I definitely never wanted to harm you. Sir, no, don't." After dealing with the red-lipped woman, Chu Jia closed his eyes again and opened his field vision again. Although the field vision can have a panoramic view of everything within the field, but finding a person from such a wide range is quite time-consuming. But since Liang Jinming had murderous intentions towards him, Chu Jia would never let him go. Even if he searches for every inch, Chu Jia will find Liang Jinming. He believed that since Liang Jinming dared to attack Zhang Qianan, he must be in the rugged plain copy. After all, once he leaves the dungeon, the guard's rage is something he cannot bear. That is a 3-turn master, a super strong person above level 200. Brother Jia is really a swordsman. Qin Xiaoxiao covered her mouth and looked at Chu Jia in shock, completely confused. Chu Jia, sword immortal. Sword immortal, Chu Jia. Tang Ya also looked at Chu Jia infatuatedly, repeating, Chu Jia, and, sword immortal, in her little mouth, as if she had some kind of obsession. Zhang Qianan couldn't help but sigh in his heart when he saw the two girls looking like this. Originally, they all treated Chu Jia as a friend, but suddenly they learned that he was the sword immortal. The gap in status made people inevitably feel a sense of distance. The same is true for herself, and it would be difficult for her to chat and laugh with Chu Jia now. Ya, Xiao, don't be too sad. Zhang Qianan was about to comfort her two best friends, but they suddenly covered their faces and started yelling. An attractive blush rose from their cheeks and spread to their necks, like two ripe peaches. Ah, I said so many words of admiration for him in front of Brother Jia. Thinking about it now, I feel so ashamed. What do you mean? I admitted it at the time and wanted to tie the sword fairy to the bed, but he heard me. He even heard me. Oh my god, what does Brother Jia think of me? Does he regard me as his #1 crush? Xiao, what are you thinking? I am the #1 fangirl, and I know the hardness of every muscle on his body. Tang Ya and Qin Xiaoxiao had never been so embarrassed in their lives, but they were a little happy in their embarrassment. Although he kept yelling, the smile on his lips was harder to suppress than AK. After all, they have been with their idols today. And she was so happy to upgrade, clear hidden maps, take photos, chat. Simply the happiest day of my life. Ah hey, that's enough for you too. The corners of Zhang Qianan's mouth twitched and her head was covered with black lines. The script seems to be different from what I imagined. Found it. Suddenly, Chu Jia raised his eyebrows and opened his eyes in surprise. After unremitting efforts, he finally found Liang Jinming. You three, don't move here, I'll go and take care of things. Chu Jia gave instructions to Zhang Qianan and the three girls, and his sword flew into the air, flying towards Liang Jinming like a meteor. Okay, Chu Jia, don't worry, I promise not to move, you can do whatever you want. Looking at Chu Jia's retreating figure, Tang Ya's beautiful eyes were mesmerized into a heart-shaped shape. Handsome, domineering, and strong, even this slightly commanding tone made Tang Ya confused. Ah, Chu Jia is simply my perfect dream lover. If I could have with him once, I wouldn't be in trouble even if I died. Zhang Qianan had black lines on her forehead and couldn't help but remind. Ya, you know Chu Jia's identity now, why do you still say that? Tang Ya smiled charmingly and said matter-of-factly. Yes, Chu Jia knows what I'm thinking anyway, so why should I be so secretive? Women, you have to be brave and move forward for love. Maybe it will happen. Qin Xiaoxiao felt that what Tang Ya said seemed to make sense, and she was vaguely moved in her heart, but there was one thing she didn't understand. Ya, why are you so obsessed with tying Brother Jia to the bed? Let's chat together, eat snacks together, play together, it doesn't matter where we are. Tang Ya's cheeks suddenly turned red, she leaned close to Qin Xiaoxiao's ear and whispered. Xiao, you don't understand. On the bed, Chu Jia can use his buffing skills on me. Qin Xiaoxiao was even more confused when he heard this. Isn't Brother Jia a domain master? Can he also gain skills? Tang Ya's pretty face is on fire. Oh, it's that kind of, skill. You'll know when you grow up. Rugged plain. The job changers were happily killing monsters, but suddenly it got dark. When I looked up, everyone was dumbfounded. Hold the grass. What is that in the sky? A spaceship. A UFO. No, that looks like a mountain. Who is so awesome as to throw a mountain into the sky? Wait, do you feel a little familiar? This seems to be a vision when the Sword Immortal appears. Sword Immortal, real or fake? I have a photo, let me take a look, hold the grass. It's true, let me take a photo first. There's still time to take a group photo. Run. The Sword Immortal is here to blow up the dungeon again. Oh my god. What kind of terrorist entity has the Liang group provoked? Are they planning to destroy all copies of the Liang group? Uncle Sword Immortal, don't do anything yet. Let us run for 5 minutes. I don't want to die yet. Although most of the job changers here have never seen the Sword Immortal with their own eyes, they are all familiar with the legendary deeds of the Sword Immortal who destroyed the wild boar forest with one sword. For a moment, everyone didn't care about upgrading and ran to the dungeon gate as hard as they could. Mad, why is this sword man here again? It's endless, isn't it? Just wait, I will never let you run away again this time. Liang Jinming looked at the sword mountain in the sky, furious, and his face was ferocious. After repeatedly destroying the business of their Liang group, this swordsman really thinks that their Liang group is a soft persimmon. Quick, notify the company, send people over, send experts over, be sure to catch this swordsman. I want to see who it is that dares to cause trouble in our Liang family's territory after eating the heart of a bear. Yes, master. The bodyguard swallowed hard, quickly dialed the phone and informed the Liang group headquarters about the matter. Master, we have informed the headquarters. It's not a good place to stay here for a long time. Let's leave as soon as possible. Liang Jinming did not nod immediately because his thoughts were not settled yet. Is there no news about those 3 goods? It takes so long to catch 2 new job transfers. This kind of garbage should go to the gate. I thought it wouldn't take long for the 3 level 45 job transfers to catch Chu Jia and Zhang Qianan. I never expected that these 3 losers would drag it out for 3 hours. The bodyguard shook his head helplessly. Although it is human nature to fish for fish at work, it was obvious that the 3 of them had gone too far. After leaving the boss alone for 3 hours, I really can't tell the difference between the big boss and the big boss. Leave a message to those 3 losers. Let's evacuate first. Wait. Chu Jia. Liang Jinming was about to leave the rugged plain dungeon when he suddenly saw a familiar figure walking slowly behind him. Wearing extremely ordinary clothes, he has a handsome but bad-looking appearance. Isn't it the Chu Jia that he is gnashing his teeth and thinking about day and night? Ha 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 ha, I didn't expect God to be helping me. I didn't want me to come back disappointed. Great, great, in this way, I can tell my father about the wild boar forest dungeon. Liang Jinming looked up to the sky and laughed, thinking that his fortune had turned around. Before leaving, he accidentally bumped into Chu Jia and was so excited that he couldn't help himself. Go, get Chu Jia for me. First ask for information about the iron mine copy, and then directly kill and feed the lizard. It should be normal for someone to die in the dungeon. Ha ha. Chu Jia, you dare to mess with me. And blackmail me. You don't even know who you are. 1 million, you have the life to take it, do you have the life to spend it? Die. Die for me. Ha 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 ha, so cool. Liang Jinming laughed like a maniac and gave orders directly to the bodyguards. On the territory of his Liang group, in this copy of the Lawless Land, Liang Jinming completely tore off the disguise. Master, I understand. Seeing that Chu Jia was alone, a ferocious look appeared on the bodyguard's face. What I fear is the daughter of the guard, not you, a commoner at the bottom of society. Chu Jia, from now on you will be a lonely ghost in this rugged plain. Ha ha. The bodyguard beat his chest fiercely, and countless jet black hairs suddenly sprouted from his body, transforming into a giant humanoid ape. The A-level profession, Giant Ape Warrior, is a beast transformation profession that can return to its ancestors in a short time and burst out with infinite power. Chu Jia, die. The bodyguard stomped on the ground, jumped up, clenched his arms into a hammer in the air, and hit Chu Jia hard. Chu Jia looked at all this coldly, his footsteps not stopping at all. Countless flying swords and meteors streaked across the sky like the moon, penetrating the bodyguard's body without any hindrance. PFF'd, PFFT. In just an instant, the bodyguard was covered with densely packed flying swords, hanging in the air like a hedgehog, with blood dripping down. Death came so quickly that he didn't even have time to cry out. This. Liang Jinming's laughing face suddenly stiffened, and his eyes widened, as if he had seen a ghost. Dead. His bodyguard, a level 50 job transferee, died in the blink of an eye. What's going on? What's going on? This sword, where did it come from? Liang Jinming roared hysterically, and his whole body was shaking uncontrollably. Seeing Chu Jia approaching with cold eyes, holding the sword that killed the bodyguard in his hand, Liang Jinming felt as if he had fallen into an ice cave. Chu Jia, did you do it? Was it you? Wait, I know. You are the sword man. You are the sword fairy. You actually created a field. Between life and death, Liang Jinming figured everything out at once. The sword immortal whom I fear as much as a tiger, and the Chu Jia whom I hate to the core of my being, are actually the same person. An unparalleled fear suddenly enveloped Liang Jinming. His legs became weak and he fell backwards, staggering and falling to the ground, begging at the top of his lungs. Chu Jia, I'm sorry, Whoa, a cold light flashed, blood spattered, and the great head rolled down. You talk too much, leave it to the underworld. Chapter 31. After killing Liang Jinming and cutting his body into pieces, Chu Jia flew into the air with his sword and returned to the hidden map. Zhang Qianan, Tang Ya, and Qin Xiaoxiao were still obediently staying in the hidden map, dancing and talking. Seeing Chu Jia flying back with his sword, the three women looked at each other and said excitedly, Chu Jia, you are back. Chu Jia nodded and said straight to the point. Liang Jinming is dead, I killed him. After a brief silence, the three women clapped their hands in unison. Well done. He actually found a killer to assassinate us. It's really lawless. Yes, I will tell my dad when I get back that the Liang group must pay the price. Chu Jia, Liang Jinming sent someone to assassinate us. You are acting in self-defense. There is no need to worry about the consequences. I will tell my father the truth. During the interrogation just now, they also found out that the man behind the scenes was Liang Jinming. Therefore, he also expected that Chu Jia had just left to teach Liang Jinming a lesson. But they didn't expect that Chu Jia would be so decisive and kill the only heir of the Liang group without hesitation. I know that you plan to use the power of your family to retaliate against the Liang group, but I hope you will not do so for the time being. Seeing the indignant expressions of the three women, Chu Jia could guess that once they left the dungeon, the three of them would immediately inform their family about the matter. Then, Dongsheng City will most likely immediately set off a bloody storm that will affect the entire city. Chu Jia was naturally happy that the Liang group had suffered a blow, but this result did not satisfy him. Chu Jia's words stunned the three women. They all looked at Chu Jia in confusion, not knowing what he meant. Chu Jia, why? Liang Jinming's move is undoubtedly a serious provocation. We must fight back. Furthermore, even if the Liang group doesn't know that the murderer is you now, they will probably find you through the wild boar forest instance. You will also be in danger by then. The three girls suddenly became excited. They were eager to take revenge on the Liang group. In fact, the most important reason was for Chu Jia. After all, although Liang Jinming attacked them, the three of them were safe and sound with Chu Jia around. But if the Liang group learns of this, they may hunt Chu Jia to the ends of the earth. My thoughts are the same as yours, even more urgent than yours. I want the Liang group to be destroyed. If you cut the weeds without eradicating the roots, they will grow again with the spring breeze. I don't want to worry that someone will suddenly appear and assassinate me every day when I sleep. Chu Jia waved his hand to suppress the excited three girls and opened his mouth to explain. If that's the case, then why don't you let us inform the family? The three women were even more confused. Could it be that Chu Jia planned to destroy the Liang group with one person? But this is too much. Even if he is a swordsman, he can't do it in a short time. Because now is not the right time. Chu Jia's eyes flickered and he began to analyze the development of the matter. The Liang group is mainly engaged in the dungeon business, and it holds most of the dungeons in Dongsheng City. The college entrance examination is in 7 days. Now is the prime time for newcomers to work hard to upgrade. With the three of you united, the Liang group will naturally not be an opponent, but it is likely that he will use the copy to threaten the garrison. It is naturally impossible for the Lord Guard to forcibly destroy the Liang group at the expense of the future of the newcomers. Things will enter a stalemate stage until the college entrance examination is over. With such a long period of respite, the Liang group can do too many things. In the end, the Liang group will most likely make a comeback with a different identity, and what will be destroyed in Dongsheng City is just an empty shell. Of course, Chu Jia still had something to say. During the college entrance examination, he will show his terrifying strength as a field master and rise as a dazzling new star, shocking everyone in Dongsheng City. When the time comes, he will have the right to speak on par with Forged in the Sky and Phoenix Weapon. His voice will be the last straw that overwhelms the Liang group. Zhang Qianan and the three girls suddenly realized what they were saying. Once the Liang group closes the novice dungeon, Dongsheng City will probably be filled with resentment and chaos throughout the city. With the wolfish ambition of the Liang group, there is no telling what things will be done by then. Chu Jia, you were right. We are too impatient. If we use the power of our family to attack the Liang group now, we may make a big mistake. Yeah, Brother Jia is right. To deal with evil people like the Liang group, you should kill them with one strike. Okay, let them be free for another 7 days. After passing the college entrance examination, I will definitely give them a good look. The three women said with lingering fear, looking at Chu Jia with admiration. Not only is he powerful, he is also full of wisdom. This man is so dazzling. Chu Jia nodded with a smile and continued. So, whether I own the domain or kill Liang Jinming, please keep it secret. I hope to give Liang Group a big surprise on the day of the college entrance examination. Qin Xiaoxiao nodded with a smile. Don't worry, Brother Jia, Xiaoxiao promises not to tell. Zhang Qianan also nodded readily and agreed, no problem. Only Tang Ya's beautiful eyes turned, and there seemed to be a flash of cunning in her eyes, so she said with difficulty. Chu Jia, I naturally agree to your request, but people like to talk in their sleep. I'm really worried that I might spill the beans one night. After a pause, Tang Ya looked at Chu Jia expectantly and suggested. How about I stay at your house for the next few days? This way, both of us can feel more at ease. Chu Jia felt like he was losing his mind, but after thinking about it, he nodded and agreed. Okay, but the conditions of my house are definitely not as good as your big mansion, so be mentally prepared. After all, it is related to your own plan, so it is better to be cautious. Besides, with Tang Ya, the little princess, forged in the sky, by their side, the Liang group had to be more relaxed in their attacks. No problem, no problem. She is very easy to support. Chu Jia, you must not treat her like a young lady who never leaves home. The plot succeeded. Tang Ya was so happy that she hugged Chu Jia's arm intimately, like a newly married couple. Ah, Ya, you're lying. Qin Xiaoxiao's face turned red with anger when she heard Tang Ya made such a shameless request. More importantly, Chu Jia actually agreed. No, Brother Jia, I want to sleep at your house too. I also talk in my sleep. Not only do I talk in my sleep, I also sleepwalk and write in my diary. It's more dangerous than Yaya. Seeing Qin Xiaoxiao's crazy coquettish look, Chu Jia looked helpless. Why did he even sleepwalk and write a diary? I'm willing to agree, but my home is so big and I can't accommodate so many people. Ah, Qin Xiaoxiao let out a long mournful sound, feeling extremely disappointed. Tang Ya showed the charming smile of a winner. Xiaoxiao, I'm sorry, there is already a mistress at home, oh ho ho ho. At this moment, a thin mosquito voice sounded next to him. Hey, otherwise, come and stay at my house. I have a lot of empty rooms. Hey, otherwise, come and stay at my house. I have a lot of empty rooms. Zhang Qianan's pretty face turned red and she spoke, her little head buzzing. Who knows how she made such a crazy statement inviting Chu Jia home. Chu Jia looked at Zhang Qianan in surprise, and was equally surprised by her hospitality. This is not a meal between friends, this is a stay at home. Zhang Qianan, the guarding daughter, looks cold on the outside, but she is really passionate in her heart. Ahem, Qianan, thank you for your kindness, but let's forget it. Being under the same roof as the guard, I feel overwhelmed just thinking about it. Zhang Qianan heard a flash of disappointment on her face, but before she could say anything else, Qin Xiaoxiao spoke first. Brother Jia, you misunderstood. In order for Qianan to practice swordsmanship, the guard's uncle specially bought her a villa next to the guard's mansion. Qianan was the only one in the villa. Why didn't I think of this before? Let's go to Qianan's villa to live together. Okay, go ahead, go ahead. Qin Xiaoxiao held Chu Jia's wrist and kept swinging it, looking at Chu Jia helplessly, looking pitiful. Zhang Qianan also continued to add. There is a training ground below the villa where we can practice combat skills. Since the two women said so, Chu Jia could only agree. Okay, let's stay at Qianan Villa this week. There are 3 distinguished eldest ladies accompanying him next to the governor's mansion, so Chu Jia's safety is absolutely no problem. Yeah, Qin Xiaoxiao cheered. Zhang Qianan also showed a happy smile. Only Tang Ya was unhappy. The world of 2 was about to become a world of 4. In that case, let's leave quickly. I'm afraid it won't be long before the Liang group will send experts over. After being promoted to level 10 in one day, the 3 girls were already very satisfied, so it didn't matter if the remaining time was wasted. They planned to blend into the crowd and leave the rugged plain quietly. Give me 1 more minute. Chu Jia smiled slightly, and his sword flew into the air, straight into the sky. Now that the realm has been released, naturally we cannot return empty-handed. Wanjian Chaozong, Zhang Qianan, Tang Ya, and Qin Xiaoxiao looked at Chu Jia with admiration, wondering what he was going to do. The next moment, the entire Luanjian mountain suddenly radiated with light, scattered into swords all over the sky, and swept through the entire copy like a violent storm. The sword energy surges and covers the earth. Countless rocks were chopped into powder, and countless lizard monsters were killed with one blow. The earth trembles, monsters wail, the power of thousands of swords makes the heaven and earth pale. Kill the black stone monitor lizard, little monster, and obtain lizard scales. Kill the poisonous ink lizard, elite, and obtain the poison sac. Kill the gluttonous lizard boss, and obtain the fang of gluttony. Kill the black stone monitor, little monster, and obtain the iron gauntlet, black iron. Kill the gluttonous lizard boss, and obtain the gluttonous heavy armor, bronze. Kill the ghost lizard boss and obtain the ghost pendant, bronze. Kill the black stone monitor lizard, little monster, and obtain the skill book scale armor, first level, low level. Kill the poisonous ink lizard, elite, and obtain the skill book poisonous halo, first level, intermediate. Kill the ghost lizard boss and obtain the skill book ghost step, first level, advanced. Kill the black stone monitor, little monster, and gain 400 experience points. Kill the poisonous ink lizard, elite, and gain 800 experience points. Kill the ghost lizard boss and gain 2000 experience points. The experience limit has been reached, and the level has been raised to level 27. The experience limit has been reached, and the level has been raised to level 32. The experience limit has been reached, and the level has been raised to level 35. Wow, there are so many good things, and I can earn at least 500,000 yuan in the blink of an eye. Oh ho ho, I'm so excited. I'm so lucky. Ha ha, I would like to call Field Master the most powerful profession. With one skill, all the monsters in the dungeon will be killed. Which profession can move bricks faster than me? Looking at the information that was constantly beating on the panel, Chu Jia couldn't help but have a look of ecstasy on his face. His level has soared, breaking through the level 30 mark and reaching level 35 directly. In one thought, Wang Jian obeyed the order. Is this the true power of a domain master? Zhang Qianan looked at the rain of swords falling all over the sky. Her heart was racing, and she was so excited that she couldn't breathe. So handsome, so strong. This is the man I should follow. Tang Ya looked at the shocking scene of the earth shattering and the smoke and dust rising, and her heart was completely captured. I upgraded. Why did I upgrade again? Why did I upgrade again? Level 26, 27, oh no, level 28, level 30, level 35. Qin Xiaoxiao's eyes were widened as he stared at his attribute panel. The number next to the level is beating at an extremely fast speed, and my own counting speed cannot keep up with its changing speed. In just a few breaths, her level soared from level 25 to level 35. Level 10 in the blink of an eye. Level 20 in one day. What kind of incredible upgrade speed is this? Qin Xiaoxiao was so happy that she almost fainted. She was so happy to be with brother Jia. At the end of 1 minute, Chu Jia landed on time, and the Luanjian mountain domain was put away by him at the same time. Okay, we can go now. Chu Jia smiled handsomely, showing calmness in every move he made. Okay, brother Jia, you are so handsome. The 3 women gathered around Chu Jia, like 3 beautiful flowers with different styles, and happily ran towards the dungeon gate. Not long after the 3 people left, 2 second-level masters from the Liang group used special props and entered the rugged plain dungeon with murderous intent. Seeing the rugged plain riddled with holes, the two of them gnashed their teeth and their eyes were about to burst. However, Luanjian Mountain in the sky has long since disappeared without a trace, and there is no trace of the sword immortal at all. The two searched everywhere for a long time, but still found nothing, so they could only try to contact Liang Jinming. But no matter how they contacted him, there was no news from Liang Jinming. Their hearts sank at the same time. No. Something may have happened to the young master. Chu Jia and the three women left the dungeon, got into Tang Ya's luxury car, and soon arrived in front of a luxurious villa in the city center. The style of the villa is luxurious and grand. The lawn and flower beds outside are carefully trimmed, and the birds are singing and the flowers are fragrant. With just one glance, Chu Jia could tell the approximate price of the villa. He couldn't afford it. Welcome to my home. Zhang Qianan took the initiative to open the door and invited Chu Jia incoherently. This villa has always been a secret base for her and her best friends. This is the first time a man has entered. Dad is not a man. Zhang Qianan's little heart was beating wildly, and she was extremely nervous. Excuse me. Chu Jia smiled and nodded and walked into the villa. The interior decoration of the villa is extremely exquisite, all kinds of furniture are very stylish, and there are even exquisite reliefs carved on the walls. How to say, being in it, Chu Jia felt that his whole person had been sublimated. Come on, Chu Jia, let's take you around. You can choose a room you like. Of course, if you want to sleep with me, I'm totally willing. Tang Ya licked her red lips and spoke charmingly. Qin Xiaoxiao glared at Tang Ya angrily and said jealously, Brother Jia, don't listen to Yaya, she just wants you to use your buffing skills on her. Yaya is greedy. You can't let her go if you let me go. Phoenix Treasure, company headquarters. Qin Yanhu, the slightly obese chairman, is sitting behind his desk handling the company's affairs. Following several knocks on the door, the secretary walked in and reported in a warm voice. Boss, the lady said she won't be back tonight. She will stay at Miss Zhang's house. And she will live there until the end of the college entrance examination. Qin Yanhu nodded, not too surprised. Qin Xiaoxiao, Tang Ya, and Zhang Qianan grew up together, and the three of them often stayed at other people's homes. But this time it takes a little longer, a full week. It's just hard on me as an old father. Not seeing my good daughter for 7 days makes me want to die. Hey, I have to be patient for the college entrance examination. Secretary, go and prepare some props to send to my precious daughter. The two little girls Qianan and Yaya will also bring a copy. The college entrance examination is coming soon, so we must not make our children suffer. The secretary nodded, but did not leave immediately, as if he was hesitant to speak. Qin Yanhu was a little strange. Is there anything else? The secretary didn't say anything and handed over a photo. Qin Yanhu took it curiously, and when he saw the picture above, his eyes widened with anger, and his blood pressure soared. Qin Xiaoxiao and Tang Ya were seen holding a boy's arms on the left and right, and were about to enter the villa gate. Hey, where did the yellow hair come from? How dare you abduct my precious daughter? Ah, my baby Xiaoxiao is so cute and innocent, how can she fall in love prematurely? What kind of shameful means did this kid use to trick my precious daughter away without even knowing it? Qin Yanhu gritted his teeth angrily, wishing he could rush into the photo and tear that boy to pieces. Ahem, boss, the lady is already 18, so it doesn't count as puppy love. The secretary coughed twice and gave a strict reminder. Suddenly, Qin Yanhu's murderous gaze fell on the secretary, who was so frightened that he immediately fell silent. Hoo ho ho. Qin Yanhu was breathing heavily. Although he was very angry, he also knew that it was the most urgent time to do so at this time. Adolescence is the most rebellious period, and you must handle it carefully, otherwise it may arouse your baby girl's rebellious psychology. Just thinking that Qin Xiaoxiao might rebelliously yell at him made Qin Yanhu feel so heartbroken that he couldn't breathe. Go, investigate this boy for me. I want all his information within 10 minutes. Qin Yanhu gritted his teeth and gave the order to his secretary, then picked up his cell phone, found a number named Tang Long, and dialed it directly. Hey, Lao Qin, what's the matter? Forget it if you come to me for a drink. My Yaya said that drinking and bragging is not cool at all. I can't stop bragging, so I decided to quit drinking. The phone was connected, and a lazy voice came from the other side. Hearing that Tang Long was still thinking about drinking, Qin Yan was furious. I'm going to kill you. Your surname is Tang. Why don't you take good care of your daughter? Do you know what she did? She led my Xiao Xiao into trouble. Opposite Tang Long was scolded for no apparent reason and could not react for a moment. But then, an even more violent curse came through the microphone. Qin, why are you talking about my Yaya? Although my Yaya looks frivolous, she is very steady in her words and deeds. Why did my Yaya lead your Xiao Xiao into trouble? I'm telling you, you'd better not slander anyone, or I'll kill you. Qin Yan, who was too lazy to argue with Tang Long, and sent the photo directly. Soon, there was a scream like a groundhog coming from the opposite side. Oh my God, who is this boy? Who is this boy? Ah, Yaya, Daddy is still here, why did you leave with another man? Listening to Tang Long's hysterical roar, Qin Yan, who was also a little stunned. At first, he thought Tang Long knew the boy in the photo, but he never expected that Tang Long knew nothing about him either. Okay, stop being such a loser. It would be so embarrassing if your daughter knew about it. Right now we should think carefully about what to do to save our daughter from this little yellow-haired thief. Tang Long on the other side also calmed down after hearing this and said in a deep voice. You're right, my Yaya is very independent and she definitely doesn't want me to interfere with her feelings, so we have to keep it secret. Where are they now? Let's go there first to see the situation. Qin Yan, who nodded with deep understanding. Looking at the photo, it should be at Qianan's villa. As soon as this statement came out, both sides fell into silence at the same time. Who is this kid? He didn't kidnap 2 people, he kidnapped 3 people. Even the precious girl who was guarding him did not escape the clutches of the devil. Hey, it seems we have encountered a difficult opponent. Tell the guard the news. Let's go to the villa first to explore the situation. The 2 old men sighed at the same time, stopped processing the documents, and ran towards Zhang Qianan's villa like crazy. Inside the villa, Chu Jia, led by the 3 women, visited the entire villa and chose one as his bedroom. Next, the 4 of them sat on the sofa in the hall, watching TV and chatting. The 4 people's levels have now reached LV35. At this level, there is absolutely no problem in getting admitted to a well-known university. Therefore, the 4 of them were very relaxed and had no anxiety at all before the exam. Chu Jia is a man with a rich reserve of all kinds of knowledge. He can find topics to chat with several girls at his fingertips. The 3 girls were so amused by Chu Jia that they were all smiling. None of the 4 people noticed that on the skylight of the villa, 2 old men, one fat and one thin, were holding on to the window frame, with blue veins popping out. Did you see it? Did you see it? My Xiao Xiao actually hugged that fool's arm. Beast, Xiao Xiao hasn't hugged me since she was 10 years old. I've almost forgotten that feeling of happiness. Qin Yan, who gritted his teeth and was about to cry. He couldn't believe that his good daughter had really been raped. Ah, my Yaya is actually feeding that kid grapes, and she even peels them off. You fool, I have never enjoyed such imperial treatment, how dare you? How dare you? Tang, who clenched his fists tightly and his whole body was shaking with excitement. He wished he could smash the roof to pieces with one punch and execute the boy in front of him on the spot. Oh my God, Qianan actually smiled in front of a man, and she smiled so happily. Ah, I can't see her smiling face more than a few times a year. I'm so jealous. At this moment, another voice suddenly joined. Qin Yanhu and Tang Long looked up and saw that they were guarding Zhang Yanqing with majestic appearance and rainbow momentum. Guardian, you are here. Zhengshou, is your relationship with Qianan so tense? Qin Yanhu and Tang Long greeted the guards. Thanks to the juniors, they also had a good relationship with the elders. Hey, the guard is busy with affairs, so he often can't accompany Qianan. Qianan develops a cold personality every time he comes and goes. Later I finally had some free time and wanted to improve the relationship between father and daughter, but I found that it was impossible to do it. Life is not easy, guard sighs. Upon hearing this, Qin Yanhu and Tang Long cast sympathetic glances at Zhang Yanqing. As daughter slaves, they can clearly feel Zhengshu's deep fatherly love for his daughter. Have you found out the details of that boy? After Zhang Yanqing sighed a few times, he regained his energy. The top priority is to deal with the kid in front of you. Emotional matters must be handled with caution. As fathers, they will never allow their daughters to be deceived by pornographic men. Qin Yanhu nodded and spoke solemnly. I found out, this guy's name is Chu Jia. Without background and connections, I finally transferred to a hidden profession and am still the most rubbish field master. In short, this guy is nothing but handsome. Zhang Yanqing's heart sank even more when he heard this. It turned out to be the boy who saved Qianan. You saved someone and saved my family. The word is like a knife to the head, male lust is harmful to people. That is to say, our daughters are still young. If they were older, they would definitely not be easily attracted by the beauty of men. Fortunately, they have old fathers like us, and with Dad here, they will never let any yellow hair succeed. The three old men looked at each other, their eyes bursting with bright light. Now, the alliance of troubled fathers is established. Mission goal: get rid of the yellow hair and save the daughter. Lord Guard, this guy can ride on 3 boats without capsizing them. He is a tough enemy. In your opinion, what should we do? Qin Yanhu asked with a solemn expression. Zhang Yanqing thought for a moment and then spoke leisurely. First, I will send a housekeeper into the villa to take care of this kid in the name of taking care of the daily life of 4 people. We must not let this boy do something irreversible with our daughter. When Qin Yanhu and Tang Long heard this, they gave a silent thumbs up. This was their biggest worry, but they didn't expect the guard to resolve it easily. Zhang Yanqing smiled slightly and continued. Secondly, now is the golden period of preparing for the college entrance examination. I will also ask the housekeeper to regularly urge them to brush monsters and level up. This kid Chu Jia is not very strong. I think he will be far away soon. When the time comes, our daughters will realize that Chu Jia is not on the same level as them at all, and they will feel alienated. After all, strength is the most reliable criterion for measuring a man. Qin Yanhu and Tang Long gave a thumbs up again, moisturizing things silently. This is a great way to guard. Zhang Yanqing's smile grew wider and he continued. In the end, it was us old fathers who showed affection and reason, and pulled our daughters back from the wrong path. But our girls have different personalities. I can't give unified advice. I can only improvise. When Qin Yanhu and Tang Long heard this, they patted their chests with great confidence. Don't worry, guard, I don't know my own daughter yet. The love between father and daughter is deep, let love influence everything. The first collective meeting of the Alliance of Father Warriors ended successfully on the roof, and the 3 old fathers dispersed. At the same time, a 27-year-old woman walked into the villa. This woman has short, smart hair and is wearing a suit, looking sassy and elegant. Her eyes are like stars, bright and sharp, her skin is delicate and smooth, exuding the unique charm of a mature woman. There is a neutral beauty that both men and women can't help but stop to admire, perfectly displayed on her body. Sister Zhang, why are you here? Seeing the capable woman, Zhang Qianan stood up in surprise. Miss, the guard is worried about your daily life and has sent me to take care of you. Sister Zhang nodded slightly and answered calmly. Zhang Qianan's face turned slightly ugly when he heard this. When I lived here before, my father didn't even know to assign him a housekeeper. Why did he suddenly think of this now? I think the care is fake, but the surveillance is real. Zhang Qianan was annoyed in her heart, but she couldn't show it in front of Chu Jia, so she could only introduce. Chu Jia, this is Zheng Shan, my swordsmanship teacher and my father's right-hand man, a level 105A level job transfer, Shadow Blade Swordsman. Quote. Sister Zheng, this is Chu Jia, my very good friend. When Chu Jia saw Zhang Qianan's elder, he stood up and greeted politely, Hello, Sister Zheng. Zheng Shan didn't say anything, looked at Chu Jia up and down, and said coldly. Classmate Chu Jia, the college entrance examination is around the corner. Rapidly improving your strength is the right way. Don't waste time on the love between your children and harm others and yourself. After saying that, Zheng Shan put on a cold face and stepped aside, standing silently like a stone pillar without any further expression. The person who came here is not good. Chu Jia was slightly embarrassed when his hot face touched his cold ass, but he didn't pay much attention. Surrounded by 3 beautiful and noble young ladies, anyone would think that he is a playboy. But in fact, they are the ones teasing me. Bad woman. Qin Xiaoxiao glared at Zhang Shan angrily. Disrespecting Brother Jia means disrespecting her. Tang Ya indifferently moved her head closer to Chu Jia and chuckled in her heart. Haha, you can't see Mount Tai even if you have eyesight. You can't even imagine how strong my Chu Jia is. Zhang Qianan was already a little angry at her father for interfering in her life, but she became even more angry when she saw Zhang Shan's attitude. I'm so old, what's wrong with having male friends? Besides, Chu Jia is such an outstanding person. Since you don't want me to get close to him, then I will just get close to him, which will make you mad. Zhang Qianan pushed Qin Xiaoxiao aside, sat side by side with Chu Jia, and chatted happily. Chu Jia, Qin Xiaoxiao and Tang Ya all looked at Zhang Qianan in surprise. They wondered why this iceberg beauty was so enthusiastic all of a sudden. Although Zhang Shan looked expressionless and looked intently. But seeing Zhang Qianan taking the initiative to throw herself into the arms of a boy, the corners of her eyes couldn't help but twitch. Is this really the Qianan I know? How could she be so enthusiastic about a boy? She actually patted Chu Jia on the shoulder, and she even hugged Chu Jia's arm. This was too intimate. Ah, what kind of ecstasy soup did this boy named Chu Jia pour into her? The guard just asked me to watch them, not to let them get to the last step. But what should we do with the current situation? Lord Guard, I don't understand. Although Zhang Shan looked calm, she was already picking at her feet in embarrassment and wanted to escape from this dog food space immediately. She is good at beating and killing, but she has no experience in matters like relationships. Fortunately, the sky quickly darkened, and Zhang Shan quickly left this land of right and wrong on the pretext of preparing dinner. No, we must urge them to go to the dungeon to upgrade immediately tomorrow. This guy is so good looking and is tired of being together all day long. Even 2 pigs can have feelings for each other. Separate, we must separate them. Zhang Shan felt a strong sense of urgency as she watched the 4 of them finish their dinner and chat for a long time before going back to their rooms to sleep. Although she is not Zhang Qianan's biological sister, they have known each other for several years as a swordsmanship teacher. Zhang Shan also absolutely does not want Zhang Qianan to waste her great youth on a playboy. The lights went out, and Zhang Shan waited quietly in the dark night for a long time. It wasn't until the sound of even breathing came from all 4 rooms that she felt relieved to go back to her room and sleep. The next day, Zhang Shan got up early, prepared a sumptuous breakfast, knocked on the door one after another, and asked the 4 of them to get up for dinner. However, there was no response from the rooms of Zhang Qianan, Qin Xiaoxiao and Tang Ya. Zhang Shan pushed the door open and found that there was no one inside. Her expression changed drastically, and she had a bad feeling in her heart. No, you shouldn't take advantage of me while I'm sleeping. Still 4 of us together. No, no, no. You are all young ladies. This is too. Dark shadows flickered under Zhang Shan's feet, and she directly used the skill, Sword Shadow Step, and rushed towards Chu Jia's room like crazy. Bang! The door burst open. Zhang Shan saw Chu Jia lying lazily on the bed, sleeping soundly. He was the only one in the room. Huh, Butler Zhang, what are you doing? Chu Jia was woken up by the sound of banging on the door. He opened his eyes drowsily and looked at Zhang Shan with some dissatisfaction. Ah, I'm sorry, Mr. Chu Jia, I'm here to ask you to eat. Also, miss, they seem to have gone out. Do you know where they went? Not seeing the chaotic scene she expected, Zhang Shan breathed a long sigh of relief and returned to her role as housekeeper. Chu Jia sat up from the bed, and the quilt slipped off, revealing his upper body with clear muscle lines, coupled with some messy hair, giving him an indescribable lazy beauty. They went to the dungeon to upgrade. Didn't you hear when we were chatting last night? The idea of the 3 girls is actually very simple, because Chu Jia is so good that they must work hard to catch up. Chu Jia proposed to upgrade them, but they were all rejected. Although the 3 girls like the feeling of being protected by Chu Jia, they don't want to become saplings that will never grow up under Chu Jia's shadow. Oh, that's it, then you clean up and get up quickly for breakfast. Seeing Chu Jia's strong muscles, Zhang Shan's cheeks burned red, she said a few words incoherently, and ran out of the room as if to escape. Chu Jia was clearly the young lady's boyfriend, but she suddenly took notice of him, making her feel inexplicably ashamed, as if he was having an affair. After running to the hall, Zhang Shan held her chest, took a long breath, and relaxed her tense spirit slightly. She had been thinking about how to deal with this difficult situation last night, so she naturally had no intention of listening to what Chu Jia and the others were talking about. Unexpectedly, not only were the three ladies not immersed in their feelings, they were even more diligent and went to level up early. On the other hand, Chu Jia, a useless field master, even though he has a poor career, he finally managed to get close to the big tree of Miss, and he is still so lazy. Sure enough, all good-looking men are vases. After a while, Chu Jia came down from upstairs, sat down at the dining table, and ate breakfast while looking at his phone. Zhang Shan stood quietly aside, elegant and dignified, always obeying Chu Jia's instructions. Although she came to monitor Chu Jia is Zhang Qianan's friend and also her client. Why are you standing here? Let's eat together. Chu Jia saw Zhang Shan standing nearby, so he took the initiative to ask her to sit down. The breakfast on the table is very rich, for 4 people, and he will definitely not be able to finish it by himself. Mr. Chu Jia, I am the butler and I am here to serve you. I am not allowed to serve on the table. Zhang Shan showed a formulaic smile and said politely. Oh, then help me eat the other 2 breakfasts. Chu Jia put it another way, saying that he was just an ordinary citizen, and there was no distinction between superiority and inferiority. That's okay. Zhang Shan didn't expect Chu Jia to say that. After hesitating for a moment, she sat down on a chair far away from Chu Jia and carefully started eating breakfast. In his heart, he began to speculate wildly. Why did he have to sit me down for breakfast? Care about me? No, it's a routine. It must be the conspiracy of this scumbag. This kid must have internalized flirting with girls to his core, otherwise it would be impossible to capture 3 young ladies, Zhang Qianan, Qin Xiaoxiao, and Tang Ya at the same time. HMPH, you scumbag, you actually want to attack me. I'm not a little girl like a lady. You want to use this trick to lure me into the bait. What a beautiful idea. Zhang Shan felt that she had seen through Chu Jia's conspiracy, and secretly observed Chu Jia while eating. However, Chu Jia stared at the phone seriously and did not even look at Zhang Shan. On the internet, the popularity about Sword Fairy has surged again. Although the Sword Immortal did not directly blow up the rugged plain dungeon this time, the shocking scene of Sword Mountain volleying in the sky and thousands of swords washing the ground really made the job changers crazy. In the confused discussion, Chu Jia keenly discovered that there was a group of sailors working hard to guide everyone to study the true identity of the Sword Immortal. Chu Jia checked the personal information of these Navy soldiers and found that most of them were employees of the Liang Group. It seems that the Liang Group blames the Sword Fairy for Liang Jinming's death. Well, actually it makes sense for them to think so. After all, on the surface, Zhang Xian destroyed the copy of the Liang Group and was obviously an enemy of the Liang Group. After seeing Liang Jinming in the copy, it was very reasonable to kill him casually. However, the fact is that the first time was purely accidental, and the second time was Liang Jinming seeking his own death. It's actually true to say that Sword Immortal is the murderer, but it's almost impossible to find me through Sword Immortal. But with the energy of the Liang Group, we should be able to quickly investigate the conflict between me and Liang Jinming, and it will only be a matter of time before I am found. Of course, I'm not worried at all. Do they still dare to break into the guard's daughter's villa? Also, there is a second-level housekeeper here, which makes you feel more secure. After breakfast, Chu Jia threw himself on the sofa and fully enjoyed the comfortable and peaceful home life. Seeing Chu Jia wasting his time like this, Zhang Shan despised Chu Jia even more. She really didn't understand why the 3 upper-class ladies liked this lazy man. At 3 o'clock in the afternoon, Zhang Qianan and the 3 girls came back from the copy early. Although they planned to chase Chu Jia, they also want to enjoy the time with Chu Jia. Otherwise, wouldn't Chu Jia be allowed to live in the villa for nothing? Brother Jia, we are coming back. Although we didn't upgrade, we had a fulfilling day today. Chu Jia, I'll take a shower first, and then I'll chat with you when I'm smelling good. Seeing Chu Jia, happy smiles appeared on the faces of the 3 women, and they felt that their fatigue was gone. After Qin Xiaoxiao and Tang Ya said hello to Chu Jia, they went upstairs to take a shower. Zhang Qianan walked up to Chu Jia and asked with a hint of expectancy in her beautiful eyes. Chu Jia, can you teach me sword skills? I was a little confused during today's battle. Zhang Qianan's talent, Mingjing's sword heart, can feel the sword's intention, thereby increasing his own strength. After witnessing Chu Jia's 10,000 swords Chaozong, with her own eyes, she gained a lot, but there were some aspects that she couldn't fully digest by herself. No problem. Chu Jia readily agreed and went to the underground training ground side by side with Zhang Qianan. Qianan is dizzy. Shouldn't you come to me for advice on swordsmanship? How could you go to that boy Chu Jia? That boy Chu Jia actually agreed. Are these two guys using this as an excuse to do something shameful? No, I have to follow over and have a look. Zhang Shan keenly noticed something was wrong, pretended to take 2 towels and 2 glasses of water, and followed them all the way. Underground training ground. Chu Jia and Zhang Qianan each held a wooden sword and communicated while waving it. HMPH. It's quite similar to that. It's a pity that I'm a professional. You have no excuses, but you use swordsmanship as an excuse. I am a level 105 Shadow Blade swordsman. You are hitting the target. Zhang Shan smiled proudly in her heart, and slowly approached the two of them, intending to use her professional knowledge to directly expose Chu Jia's tricks. As he got closer, Chu Jia's voice gradually became clearer. What this guy said makes some sense. It seems that this playboy has also done some homework. Really, what can you do wrong in your youth, but you spend your time flirting with girls? HMPH. Let's see how long you can keep pretending. When Chu Jia and Zhang Qianan saw Zhang Shan, they didn't care. Both parties have long been tacitly aware of the real purpose of this steward. This kid actually knows such a profound knowledge of swordsmanship. How long has he been preparing for it? This view of swordsmanship is a bit unique, and it seems to make some sense. Oh my god, that's it. I told you how I felt a little awkward when using skills before, so that's it. At first, Zhang Shan listened with a critical attitude. Gradually, she felt that Chu Jia was not just pretending to be a dog with a green onion stuck in his nose. This guy did have some stuff. How can a mere field master have such a profound understanding of swordsmanship? Zhang Shan, admit that you are not without merit. Later, Zhang Shan was directly immersed in Chu Jia's explanation. She was pleasantly surprised to find that through Chu Jia's explanation, some of her confusions about swordsmanship were answered. I originally planned to find fault with Chu Jia, but unexpectedly I learned something from Chu Jia. Zhang Shan felt very ashamed in her heart, so she belittled Chu Jia crazily in her heart to comfort herself. Swordsmanship is the art of fighting after all. No matter how much you know, Chu Jia, it's of no use. If you can't use it, you're just a faggot after all. In this way, 6 days passed quickly. During these 6 days, Chu Jia enjoyed the life of an otaku with peace of mind. The 3 girls Zhang Qianan, Tang Ya, and Qin Xiaoxiao went to level up during the day, and would return to the villa early in the afternoon to spend quality time with Chu Jia. Zhang Qianan would ask Chu Jia for swordsmanship every day. She didn't know if she was really confused or if she was deliberately looking for an excuse to be alone with Chu Jia. Of course, Zhang Shan will shamelessly follow along. At first, she just wanted to simply monitor Chu Jia, but later she wanted to hear what Chu Jia had to say today. For 6 days, Chu Jia's swordsmanship theory was not repeated at all. Even Zhang Shan had a vague understanding of most of them. After listening to Chu Jia's explanation, I suddenly realized it, like an enlightenment. This made Zhang Shan secretly surprised, and she could only accept this unacceptable reality. Chu Jia is a swordsmanship genius who changed his profession. I am a majestic, shadow blade swordsman, but I can't compare to this domain master in terms of swordsmanship. Guard's house. 3 old men, Zhang Yanqing, Qin Yanhu, and Tang Long, gathered here and were holding the second meeting of the Alliance of Fathers Worried. In the past 6 days, Qianan, Xiaoxiao and Yaya have all worked overtime to level up in the dungeon, which shows that their plan was executed smoothly. There may have been a big gap between the 3 girls and Chu Jia. Now, it's time for old fathers like them to take action. Everyone, I have the advantage, let's attack, dads. In the garden of the villa, Zhang Yanqing and Zhang Qianan were sitting on the stone benches of the pavilion, both of them looking a bit unnatural. Although they are father and daughter, their relationship is really unfamiliar and the atmosphere is quite awkward. Ahem, Qianan. In the end, it was guard Zhang Yanqing who spoke first. Dad already knows about you and Chu Jia. You have grown up and have the right to choose your own feelings, but as a father and a person who has been through this, I need to give you some advice. Although Chu Jia is a good-looking kid, his career and background are quite incompatible with yours. Before he finished speaking, Zhang Qianan interrupted angrily. What's wrong with Chu Jia? Why is he no longer worthy of me? Dad, you don't understand him. He is different from other boys. He is 10,000 times better than other boys. After saying that, Zhang Qianan turned and left, not giving Zhang Yanqing a chance to continue speaking. At the same time, in another pavilion, Chu Jia and Qin Yanhu sat opposite each other, and the atmosphere was equally awkward. Just now, Chu Jia was inexplicably pulled to the pavilion by this middle-aged man. This man said that his name was Qin Yanhu, that he was Qin Xiaoxiao's father, and that he wanted to see him for something. Uncle Qin, if you want to find Xiaoxiao, I will help you call her. Chu Jia spoke, breaking the awkward atmosphere. Hearing Chu Jia calling his daughter so intimately, Qin Yan gritted his teeth angrily, but he tried hard to control his emotions and said coldly. Chu Jia, I'm here to find you. Just tell me the number and leave my daughter. Chu Jia looked at the blank check pushed over and was a little confused. Is this a money offensive against yourself? Before Chu Jia could say anything, a domineering voice suddenly sounded next to him. Whatever he gives you, I will give you double. The two of them followed the sound and saw Qin Xiaoxiao holding her waist with both hands and staring angrily at Qin Yanhu. Qin Yanhu's heart suddenly tightened when he saw his daughter's angry look. His majestic aura suddenly disappeared, and he said with an apologetic smile. Oh, my precious girl, why are you so angry? You are no longer beautiful when you are angry. Qin Xiaoxiao glanced sideways at Qin Yanhu and said dissatisfied, Dad, what do you think? What were you doing just now? Seeing Qin Xiaoxiao's unkind expression, Qin Yanhu suddenly felt a strong sense of crisis in his heart. It's over. It's over. The father-daughter relationship between Xiaoxiao and I is probably over with just one sentence from me. If the relationship between me and Xiaoxiao becomes like that between Zhengshou and Qianan, it would be better to just let me die. Qin Yanhu's mind was spinning, sweat was dripping from his forehead, and he said with a sneer. No, I just gave Chu Jia some money. Huh, why are you giving brother Jia money? Qin Xiaoxiao was still reluctant. What, Chu Jia's family is not as well off as ours, so if you give him some money, you can go out and play together and pay for it, right? Men, you can't always let women foot the bill, otherwise you won't have family status. Chu Jia, don't you think so? Qin Yanhu was telling Chu Jia's lies while winking at Chu Jia crazily. Chu Jia pocketed the check with a smile and kept echoing. Yes. Uncle Qin is really open-minded and generous. Xiaoxiao, you really have a good father. Hearing what Chu Jia said, Qin Xiaoxiao was very happy. She pushed Qin Yanhu with crooked eyebrows and said, Dad, brother Jia praised you, but you still haven't thanked me. ? Girl, are you serious? I gave this guy money, why should I thank him? You are making your father the biggest scapegoat. Qin Yanhu was aggrieved, but under Qin Xiaoxiao's expectant eyes, he could only grit his teeth and squeeze out a word of thanks. Chu Jia, thank you. After staying for a while, Qin Yanhu left the villa extremely depressed. He was defeated, completely defeated. At the door, Qin Yanhu met guard Zhang Yanqing. Seeing the guard sighing, he knew the outcome without guessing. Master Guard, the enemy is far more powerful than we thought. At this moment, Tang Long came from a distance triumphantly. Tang Long, why are you so happy? Did you succeed? Zhang Yanqing and Qin Yanhu asked at the same time. Tang Long smiled mysteriously. It's half successful. Half the battle. How do you say that? Zhang Yanqing and Qin Yanhu spoke out of curiosity, but they didn't see Tang Long going to find Yaya. How come they were only half successful? Tang Long didn't show off, and said with great confidence. My Yaya is a strong-willed girl, so I found a love rival for Chu Jia. A love rival who is 100 times better than Chu Jia, let me see how he can win now. Humph. The interruption from the guard and Qin Yanhu was just a small episode. Chu Jia quickly put it behind him and happily played games with 3 beauties upstairs. Evening. A young man with sharp eyebrows and starry eyes and a face full of arrogance came outside the villa. He was wearing expensive silver equipment and did not hide his wealth. At first glance, he looked like a young master from a wealthy family. The young man's eyes swept across the villa, his eyes burning with fighting spirit. Is this where Chu Jia lives? A useless field master actually dares to seduce my goddess Tang Ya. How brave he is. Today, I will let you know that only a genius like me is worthy of goddess Tang Ya. The boy's name is Zhao Yixiang, the eldest son of the materials tycoon, Zhao's Materials, in Dongsheng City, and the love rival found by Tang Long. For 3 years, Zhao Yixiang has been Tang Ya's craziest suitor. However, Tang Ya has never taken a liking to Zhao Yixiang. This makes the infatuated Zhao Yixiang look like a licking dog. But today is different. Tang Ya's father, Tang Long, personally found Zhao Yixiang and told him that Tang Ya was bewitched by a pretty boy and fell into deep quagmire. At this moment, he needs to show his strength, defeat the pretty boy, and save Tang Ya. When Zhao Yixiang heard this, he naturally agreed without hesitation. A mere field master, nothing more than a piece of trash. I am an S-level professional, Earth Dragon Spear Fighter, and I have also awakened the special talent, Earth Dragon Defense. Chu Jia, how can you compare with me? When I defeat Chu Jia, it will be the day when Goddess Tang Ya and I will achieve perfection, ha 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 ha. With beautiful longings in his arms, Zhao Yixiang walked into the courtyard of the villa and knocked on the door. Hello, who are you looking for? Zheng Shan opened the door and saw a stranger coming to the door, so she asked politely. To have such a beautiful housekeeper, this Chu Jia is really not serious. Zhao Yixiang cursed in his heart and spoke proudly. I'm looking for Chu Jia. Zheng Shan only thought that Zhao Yixiang was Chu Jia's friend, so she opened her red lips slightly and shouted upstairs. Mr. Chu Jia, someone is looking for you. After a while, Chu Jia poked his head out from upstairs and looked at Zhao Yixiang with doubtful eyes. Who is looking for me? Hey, who are you? When Zhao Yixiang saw Chu Jia, he smiled coldly and said contemptuously. My name is Zhao Yixiang. It doesn't matter if you don't know me. You will know me after today. Chu Jia, I'm here today, ah. Before Zhao Yixiang finished speaking, his whole body seemed to be strangled by the neck, and he looked upstairs in shock. I saw a pure and lustful beauty wearing loose home clothes walking out from upstairs and hugging Chu Jia's arm very intimately. Tang, Goddess Tang Ya, oh my god, Goddess Tang Ya, why are you here? Ah, why are you so close to Chu Jia? Are you living together? No, no, no. Zhao Yixiang's eyes were about to burst and his whole body was shaking. Tang Long told him that Chu Jia was seducing Tang Ya, but he didn't say that the seduction had been successful. Zhao Yixiang, why are you here? Tang Ya looked at Zhao Yixiang in confusion, wondering why he came here. Zhao Yixiang looked at Chu Jia with heavy breathing, and in an instant he hated Chu Jia to the core. His goddess was actually by such a pretty boy. Ah, how dare he? If I don't make Chu Jia pay 100 times the price today, it's hard to understand the hatred in my heart. Chu Jia, I came today only for one thing, and that is. Zhao Yixiang gritted his teeth and roared. He wanted to completely defeat Chu Jia in front of Tang Ya. He wanted to completely expose Chu Jia's incompetence. His goddess must never be with a loser like Chu Jia. However, Zhao Yixiang's words stopped abruptly again before he finished speaking. I saw a lively, cute and beautiful little beauty jumping out and grabbing Chu Jia's wrist. Qin, Goddess Qin Xiaoxiao, why is she also at Chu Jia's house? Why is she so close to Chu Jia? Oh my god, Chu Jia, you are a beast. We have 3 beauties in Dongsheng No. 1 middle school, and you actually seduced 2 of them. And you succeeded in seducing them. Zhao Yixiang felt tight in his chest and almost vomited blood. The goddess-level beauties that I have not been able to pursue for 3 years, this Chu Jia actually has 2 of them, one on the left and one on the right. The law of heaven is unfair. The law of heaven is unfair. Ya, isn't this so and so? Why is he here? Qin Xiaoxiao originally asked Chu Jia to go back to the house to play games, but unexpectedly saw an acquaintance from school. My name is Zhao Yixiang. I'm here today because of my darling. Zhao Yixiang's third call was still unsuccessful. He looked at Chu Jia in shock, his eyes widened, as if he had seen a ghost. I saw a beautiful woman appear again behind Chu Jia, cold and aloof, like a plum blossom proud of the snow. Isn't it the guard's daughter Zhang Qianan? Weren't you talking about playing games? Why are they all running away? Zhang Qianan naturally put her chin on Chu Jia's shoulder, pouted, and said angrily. No, no, no. How could goddess Zhang Qianan fall? This is impossible. All the three beauties of our Dongsheng know. One middle school were captured by Chu Jia. How can he be so virtuous and capable? I am so envious of him. Zhao Yixiang felt that his worldview had been greatly impacted. An unparalleled anger surged from his heart, starting a prairie fire and reaching Tianling Gai. In terms of family background, rank, and profession, Zhao Yixiang is inferior to Chu Jia in every aspect. Why can he have countless beauties while he can only be a licking dog? No, I don't deserve this bit of licking. I want to defeat Chu Jia. I want to be Chu Jia. Chu Jia, I, Zhao Yixiang, want to challenge you. Oh, challenge me. Chu Jia looked at Zhao Yixiang with a smile, his eyes full of amusement. Judging from Zhao Yixiang's unkind attitude, Chu Jia also guessed what was going on. It's just that he regards himself as a love rival, and wants to show his powerful side in front of the goddess by defeating himself. After staying at home for 6 days, my body is a little stiff, so let's play with you. Tell me your level. Seeing Chu Jia's unconcerned look, Zhao Yixiang became even more angry. He held his head high and spoke his message with great pride. Chu Jia, you have no idea what kind of opponent you are facing. My profession is S level, Earth Dragon Spear Fighter, level LV-19. Haha, how about it? You didn't expect it, did you? This level is also among the best among the first echelons in Dongsheng City. Now, do you still have the courage to fight me? Zhao Yixiang pinched his waist with both hands and turned his nostrils to the sky. He was so proud that he almost reached the sky. He could already imagine Chu Jia shivering in fear and bowing to admit defeat after hearing his level. Zhang Shan on the side couldn't help but shrink her pupils when she heard this, and was shocked in her heart. It has only been 11 days since the job change. Ordinary job changers may have just broken through LV-10, but Zhao Yixiang is already approaching the LV-20 mark. In the past 11 days, Zhao Yixiang probably spent most of his time in the dungeon besides sleeping. On the other hand, Chu Jia only sleeps and eats and plays, just like a pig. How can this be compared with Zhao Yixiang? If it was as Zhang Shan guessed, when Chu Jia heard Zhao Yixiang's level, a look of confusion suddenly appeared on his face. Ah, why haven't you reached level 20 yet? Forget it, don't fight, it's too weak. I get more exercise playing games than playing you. Come on, beauties, let's continue playing games. After saying that, Chu Jia turned around and walked towards the room surrounded by the fragrant body fragrance of the three women. Zhang Qianan and the three girls were naturally not surprised at all. Is LV-19 very powerful? Not even as good as Blackstone Monitor. When Zhang Shan heard this, the corners of her mouth twitched and she couldn't laugh or cry. She knew that Chu Jia would definitely refuse the challenge, but she never expected that he would refuse so firmly. It's true that everything in his body except his mouth is stubborn. Zhao Yixiang was so angry that he almost spit out blood. 11 days after changing job, I was directly promoted to level 19. Do you think I'm weak? Chu Jia, you are such a dog. If you can't beat me, just say you can't beat me. What excuse are you making? The way you insist on eating soft food makes me feel sick. Come back. You are simply not worthy of Goddess Tang Ya, Goddess Qin Xiaoxiao, and Goddess Zhang Qianan. Give me the goddess back. Zhao Yixiang roared hysterically, completely breaking his defense. Chu Jia turned a deaf ear. The main reason was that LV-19 was really too weak and fell apart with a slap. How will he take the college entrance examination in a few days? On the contrary, Qin Xiaoxiao couldn't stand listening anymore, turned around and shouted angrily. So, don't go too far. Brother Jia just doesn't want to be acquainted with you. If you insist on competing, then wait until the college entrance examination. Then you will naturally know how powerful Brother Jia is. When Zhao Yixiang heard this, he felt as if he was enlightened, and his eyes suddenly shone with light. Yes, college entrance examination. Chu Jia, if you can escape this time, you can't escape the college entrance examination. When the time comes, I will completely defeat you in front of everyone. At that time, the goddesses will see your true face, and then, hehehehe. Zhao Yixiang left the villa in a hurry, dreaming that the dragon slayer will eventually become an evil dragon. He must seize the last moment to upgrade and not give Chu Jia the slightest chance to make a comeback. Haha, a useless domain master, how can he make a comeback against Kier? In the evening, the four of them chatted for a long time after dinner. Zhang Qianan realized something and took Chu Jia to the underground training ground to ask for sword skills. Zhang Shan naturally followed behind like a follower and continued to monitor. TCH, you can just put on a show in front of girls. When you meet a real genius, why don't you run away like a rat? Seeing Chu Jia constantly waving the wooden sword and making Zhang Qianan's eyes brighten, Zhang Shan couldn't help but feel contempt in her heart. After what happened today, she was completely convinced that Chu Jia was just the same person. Nowhere but a mouth. Qianan, watch carefully, I will demonstrate it to you. After Chu Jia explained the theory clearly to Zhang Qianan, he swung his sword at the puppet. Whoa, it seemed that the sword was struck out lightly, but snow-white sword energy condensed on the tip of the sword. Like a sword, it hit the puppet's chest hard, leaving a deep sword mark. When Zhang Shan saw this scene, she staggered and almost fell down, her face was astonished as if she had seen a ghost. Sword energy, such solid sword energy. No, isn't Chu Jia a domain master? How can he release the unique sword energy of a swordsman? Zhang Shan was stunned. What happened in front of her was so unbelievable that her brain was overloaded. Sword energy, also called sword light, is a special attack method that can only be inspired by swordsmen who have transferred to a new profession and have reached a deep understanding of sword intention. Even Zhang Shan, who is level 105, can only activate a few sword energy, which shows how difficult it is. However, the sword energy that Chu Jia inspired with the wooden sword just now was even more solid than the sword energy that she inspired with the silver sword. This makes Zhang Shan feel doubtful about life. Could it be that I changed my profession to a fake swordsman? Until Chu Jia and Zhang Qianan left the training ground, she was still stunned on the spot, unable to recover for a long time. It's night. In the guardhouse, Zhang Yan was sitting at the table with a sad look on his face. Every family has its own scriptures that are difficult to recite, and the all-powerful guard really feels a little helpless when it comes to his daughter. At this moment, the door opened and Zhang Shan walked in and reported today's situation to the guard. Lord Guard, the young lady and the others went to the dungeon early today to upgrade. But Chu Jia still stayed in the villa all day and didn't do anything to improve his strength. When Zhang Yanqing heard this, he was furious and cursed. I really don't know what Qianan likes about this guy. Isn't Qianan planning to raise such a lazy man like him in the future? After the guard finished venting his anger, Zhang Shan hesitated and said, Master Guard, this Chu Jia may not be as unbearable as you think. He seems to have a special talent. Zhang Shan informed Zhang Yanqing about Chu Jia's ability to inspire sword energy. Hiss, is there really something shining in this guy Chu Jia that I haven't noticed? Zhang Yanqing held his chin and said thoughtfully, Zhang Shan, find a way to find out Chu Jia's strength, and then come back and tell me. Hearing this, Zhang Shan was a little embarrassed. Master Guard, Chu Jia is a complete otaku. He doesn't seem to care about the college entrance examination at all. He has never thought about going to the dungeon to upgrade. I have no chance to find out his details. Zhang Yanqing took out a bottle of red potion from the backpack space and handed it to Zhang Shan. This is a combat potion that can stimulate a person's desire to fight. Quote, you find a way to subdue him, and he will naturally go find monsters to fight. Zhang Shan put away the combat potion and was secretly surprised that there was such a magical potion. Don't worry, Lord Guard, I promise to complete the mission. After saying goodbye to the guard, she returned to the villa. Zhang Shan has a unique advantage in drugging Chu Jia. I'll add it to your breakfast so you can eat it deliciously. I'll see if you can hold it in now. Jung Shan smiled mischievously, took off her clothes, casually covered her hot body with a quilt, and fell asleep on the bed. The next day, Jung Shan prepared breakfast as usual and mixed the combat potion into it. The three ladies had already gone to level up early, so she didn't have to worry about eating by mistake. Soon, Chu Jia lazily went downstairs and came to the dining table. After saying hello to Jung Shan, he started to have breakfast. Just after taking a bite, Chu Jia suddenly paused and murmured to himself. Breakfast this morning. Did he find out? Jung Shan's heart tightened and she asked uneasily. Mr. Chu Jia, do you have any questions? Today's breakfast is better than the previous days. Jung Shan, your cooking skills have improved. Chu Jia smiled slightly and continued eating without realizing it. The corners of Jung Shan's eyes twitched slightly, as if she had been praised, but why couldn't she be happy? HMPH. Eat, eat, you lazy pig, you will feel better later. After breakfast, Chu Jia lay on the sofa and played with his mobile phone comfortably. Through the camera at home, Chu Jia knew that his home had been visited by strangers. Everything in the room had been roughly rummaged through, and it looked like it had been ransacked and was in a mess. There is no doubt that this is the work of the Liang Group. The Liang Group has made this home where I have lived for 18 years. When the college entrance examination is over, I will make you look good. Chu Jia cursed secretly in his mind and continued to check the Liang Group's movements online. 6 days have passed, and the Liang Group is still sparing no effort to find the Sword Immortal, with a strong attitude of digging deep into the ground to find him. Obviously, they still don't know that Chu Jia is the Sword Immortal. The search at Chu Jia's home was only because Liang Jinming had a conflict with Chu Jia before he disappeared. As he watched, Chu Jia felt an inexplicable irritability in his heart. His cheeks were slightly red, as if his blood was heating up and he wanted to find an opponent for a fight. What's going on? Is it because you are too angry? Or have you stayed at home for too long? Chu Jia tossed and turned on the sofa, but he couldn't suppress the restlessness in his heart no matter what. Jung Shan had been observing Chu Jia from the side and was secretly happy when she saw this scene. The combat potion works. You can't continue to be an otaku now. I'll add more fuel to your fire. Jung Shan stepped forward, pretending to be concerned, and asked warmly. Mr. Chu Jia, are you okay? I see that you seem a little restless. Do you need to go out for some fresh air? Hearing Jung Shan's clear voice, Chu Jia suddenly looked at her, looking at her with fiery eyes and remaining silent. Click. Seeing this, Jung Shan's heart suddenly sank. Why does he look at me like that? This fiery look in your eyes seems to be glaring at me. Could it be that the effect of the combat potion is to fight me? Oh my god, could this thing be an aphrodisiac? For a moment, Jung Shan's cheeks turned red and she felt uneasy, like a deer stumbling around, not knowing what to do. His eyes subconsciously caught a glimpse of Chu Jia's body, and he was suddenly startled. So big. It's over. I shot myself in the foot. What should I do? Endure, accept, enjoy. As Jung Shan guessed, Chu Jia really wanted to fight Jung Shan. Of course, I'm talking about serious combat. It's just that Jung Shan's level is too high, and she is also an undercover agent assigned by the guard, which makes Chu Jia very hesitant. As for the following, it is just a normal physiological reaction in the morning. After pondering for a moment, Chu Jia finally gave up this dangerous idea. It's better to go to the dungeon and kill monsters. You can still upgrade. Anyway, the Liang Group doesn't pay special attention to me now. As long as I don't go to the dungeon controlled by the Liang Group, it should be fine. After thinking clearly, Chu Jia directly called Zhang Qianan and the three girls. Jung Shan's pretty face was on fire, her heart was beating wildly, and her plump breasts were rising and falling violently with her heavy breathing. At this moment, she understood everything. It must be that Zhang Shou deliberately sacrificed himself in order to preserve the innocence of the three ladies, thereby exposing Chu Jia's bestiality. Lord Guard, you are harming me. Hey, forget it, I endure it for the sake of work. Just think of it as a one-night stand. Anyway, he is so handsome, so it doesn't seem like a loss if I give it to him. Zhang Shan closed her eyes and bit her red lips, planning to accept Chu Jia's stormy baptism. Some indescribable scenes began to play in her mind subconsciously, which made her body temperature gradually rise. However, instead of being treated like a beast by Chu Jia, she heard the voices of Zhang Qianan and the three girls. Zhang Shan's beautiful eyes suddenly opened and she looked at Chu Jia in disbelief. Am I not enough to satisfy you on my own? You want to call three ladies together? Chu Jia, you beast. Hello, brother Jia, what's the matter? Qin Xiaoxiao's voice came from the phone. Due to the poor signal in the copy, it was slightly noisy. Chu Jia got straight to the point. Xiaoxiao, I'm a little tired of staying at home. I plan to go to the dungeon to upgrade today. Is there a dungeon that suits me? When Qin Xiaoxiao heard this, he immediately understood what Chu Jia meant. He planned to find a copy that was not under the control of the Liang group. Ah, brother Jia, my family just happened to have one. I'll call now and have someone pick you up. Although Phoenix Treasure is mainly engaged in props, it is also involved in the copy industry, but its scale is not as large as that of the Liang group. Okay, thank you Xiaoxiao. Hehe, brother Jia thanked me, I'm so happy. After hanging up the phone, Chu Jia breathed a long sigh of relief, looked at Zhang Shan and said, Steward Zhang, I plan to upgrade today, so there is no need to prepare lunch. Hey, why is your face so red? Are you sick? No, I just. Zhang Shan's face was so red that she could bleed, and she was so shy that she wanted to crawl into the ground. She finally understood now that the clouds and rain in Wushan and the upheavals were all her own imagination. Zhang Shan, you are really a madam. But he is so big. Seeing Zhang Shan running away without speaking clearly, Chu Jia looked confused. What's going on, Butler Zhang? Could it be that my aunt is here? Soon, a luxury car parked in front of the villa, and the driver wearing sunglasses knocked on the door. Hello, I was sent by Miss Qin to pick up Mr. Chu Jia to go to the dungeon. Chu Jia opened the door and greeted the driver. I'm Chu Jia, please. Although Chu Jia couldn't tell the driver's level, the sense of oppression that emanated from him made Chu Jia conclude that this was also a second-turn master. Qin Xiaoxiao was so considerate that he sent a second-level master to protect him. In this way, there is no need to worry about safety issues. This is my job. If Mr. Chu Jia is ready, let's set off. The driver spoke in a deep voice, opened the door, and invited Chu Jia to get in the car. Chu Jia nodded, got into the car, and sped towards the copy. Smelly man, how disgusting. Now I want to see how much you weigh. Not long after the two left, Zhang Shan walked out of the villa wearing combat equipment. Her cheeks were still slightly red, she snorted coldly, and chased after the two of them like a ghost. Mr. Chu Jia, the copy of Fire Volcano has arrived. Please pay attention to safety inside. I will wait for you outside. Quote, if you ever get into trouble, you can call me. This is my number. When we arrived at our destination, the driver said respectfully. Okay, thank you very much. Chu Jia knew that this was probably Qin Xiaoxiao's instruction, but he still expressed his heartfelt thanks and then decisively entered the dungeon gate. A copy of Fire Volcano. This is a copy of LV40 LV50. Why did Chu Jia choose this place? Does Chu Jia really have any hidden cards? Looking at Chu Jia's disappearing back, Zhang Shan's beautiful eyes were full of surprise. Just 10 days after changing jobs, if you dare to come to a level 40 dungeon, you are either seeking death or you are really powerful. This made Zhang Shan uncontrollably curious. She used a breath-hiding prop to suppress her level to LV80, and quickly followed in. The level limit of the dungeon is 30 levels, so LV80 is the upper limit for entering the Fire Volcano. If it is higher, the dungeon core will notice it. As soon as Chu Jia entered the fiery volcano dungeon, a wave of heat rolled over his face, along with a strong smell of sulfur that choked him and made him unable to open his eyes. After a while, he barely adapted to the environment here and looked deep into the copy. A black-red volcano in the distance is spitting out fiery red magma forever, flowing down from the top of the mountain like a river, like a series of hideous bloodstains. Thick black smoke rose continuously from the crater and gathered into a dark cloud in the sky, making the land look dull and depressing. Tisk, tisk, the environment in this copy is really bad. Chu Jia sighed in his heart. On the way here, he had fully understood the information about Fire Volcano. The monsters in this dungeon are all fire element monsters. They have high physical resistance and require spells to cause effective damage. However, sword energy can also have a killing effect, so Chujia is not too worried. There are many small vendors around the entrance, selling and recycling materials and equipment, as well as those who form teams and level up, forming a small market that is quite lively. Chujia just took a few glances and planned to head to the monster area. At this moment, a big hand pressed on his shoulder, and a surprised voice sounded. "Ha, brother, why are you here?" Chujia turned around, with a look of surprise on his face as well. The person who stopped him was none other than the young man guarding the iron mine. "Oh my God, brother, it's really you. I thought I had recognized the wrong person. I'm not telling you, you are too brave. You dare to come to the fire volcano, less than half a month after changing jobs. Isn't it possible that your kid just couldn't think about it and came here to commit suicide?" The young man's face was full of solemnity, and he was holding Chujia's shoulders tightly, as if you don't make it clear, I won't let you go. Chujia was a little dumbfounded and explained. "Brother, what are you thinking about? I'm here to upgrade. The monsters here are of high levels and have more experience. Brother, aren't you an employee of the Liang group? Why did you get a dungeon under the Phoenix treasure weapon?" Chujia still had a good impression of the young man. When he learned that he had changed his profession to a field master, instead of ridiculing him, he gave him several dungeon tickets. Originally, Chujia had planned to repay this little brother, but when he met him today, he just settled his knot. Knowing that Chujia was not unreasonable, the young man felt relieved, took Chujia to a clean place, and began to pour out his bitterness. "Brother, you don't know, the Liang group is a pure beast. At this time, I don't know what kind of illness the company's top executives are suffering from. They are not allowed to do work and level up, forcing us to search everywhere for the whereabouts of the Sword Fairy. The Sword Immortal is so handsome and cool. Where the hell am I going to find him? Could it be possible that the Sword Immortal can still come to me? Brother, do you think the Liang group is difficult to deal with?" Chujia was a little embarrassed and nodded perfunctorily. "Ah, yes, yes." The young man didn't notice anything strange about Chujia and continued to curse. "I really can't bear it anymore, so I just resigned from the Liang group. I'm done with it. After leaving my job, I realized how evil the Liang group is. Those who leave the Liang group will either have to pay high training fees, or they will not be allowed to enter the Liang group within a year. They also say that these are the terms written in the employment contract." Quote, "I knew the Liang group was a dog, but I didn't know he was such a dog. Isn't this pure blackmail? I am a poor mage at level 35. How can I give them money, so I can only cross levels to get the fire volcano copy?" Quote, "Hey, although the level of the monsters here is high, fortunately, I am a B-level profession, frost mage, and my skills can restrain fire element monsters." Quote, "After you level up, you can collect materials in the dungeon and let others to level up, and you should be able to live a good life." The young man scolded the Liang group severely, and then he immediately shrank and sighed. He, an ordinary career changer, could only get enough of being in an uninhabited corner for such a behemoth as the Liang group. Tisk, tisk, no wonder Liang Jinming is so self-righteous. His feelings are not straight at the top but crooked at the bottom. Chujia was also shocked by the exploitation of the Liang group. This is not work, it is just working hard. However, knowing that the Liang group would soon be destroyed, he didn't think much about it and comforted the young man. "Brother, if the Liang group acts so tyrannically, it will be punished sooner or later. Here, take these equipments and consider them as a return gift from last time." Most of the trophies obtained by Chujia from the two clearings were handed over to Qin Xiaoxiao and the three girls. However, there are also some good quality bronze equipment left. Youth level LV35, just usable. Hold the grass, LV30 bronze equipment, or one set. Emma, brother, you can't do it, you can't do it. I just gave you a few cheap tickets, your equipment is too expensive. The young man's eyes widened when he saw it. A set of LV30 bronze equipment was estimated to be worth tens of thousands. Just give it away if you say so. Didn't you say last time that there was no mine at home? Brother, just take it if it's given to you. Chujia chuckled. These equipments were nothing to him. Unable to resist Chu Jia, the young man had no choice but to accept and thanked him profusely. Brother, thank you so much. These equipments have really helped me a lot. Otherwise, I would have been really worried about dying in the dungeon. By the way, those words you said last time were all lies to me, right? You are actually a second-generation rich man and not a field master at all. I hope everyone will support it and subscribe more.